Planning Board to order. Today is July 7th. It is 6:30 PM, and we are meeting at Falmouth Town Hall. My name is John Drewley. I am the current chair of the Planning Board. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that this is a public meeting and is being conducted in accordance with Massachusetts open meeting law. Please take a moment to silence any mobile devices or electronics to avoid interruptions. Anyone wishing to speak should come to the podium, wait to be recognized by the chair, and state their name for the record before making remarks. We encourage respectful and constructive dialogue during public comment periods. Thank you. We'll now proceed with the first item on the agenda, which is public comment. If anyone wishes to speak about something that is not on the agenda, please come to the podium and state your name. Okay, seeing no one, we'll go to our minutes of June 23rd, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve the June 23rd, 2026 minutes as presented and as corrected.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, he left. To find a place to park.
The first item on our agenda, the second item on our agenda is the public hearing to discuss design guidelines for the mixed residential and commercial overlay district, also known as MRCOD. Mr. Zine, can you please read the public hearing notice into the record?
All right. Public notice for this project was published on July 7th, 2026, and where are the others? I'm sorry. I want to correct that. Public notice for this project was published on June 19th, 2026, and June 26, 2026. And we're the number of
No,
abutters.
we don't notify them.
We don't, okay.
No, it's just an ad in the paper.
And they were notified by regular mail.
All right, thank you. So the board, we're going to discuss the guidelines, and after that, we'll open discussion up to the public. So who would like to start with their opinions of the guidelines?
Ready, but we should start with Eric and work down.
Mr. Cod, the Mr. Cod Guide Overlay District. Eric?
I think to begin with, I guess, is like, when we refer to like the T-ticket large-scale plazas, is that just really referential to the existing character, or is that informing the future design guidelines?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your question.
When we look at like T-ticket large-scale plazas for the character of areas design, are we saying that that's going to be the guideline that we're going to follow in the future, or is that just an identification of the current pre-existing conditions?
Our new guidelines would be if there's a renovation there, or a new property owner, or tear down and rebuild, and we have these guidelines in place to
No,
help.
but what he's saying, when I read that, it says they're supposed to be flat roof giant buildings, and I don't think that's what we're planning to do in Davis Straits. I think this is a very appropriate question. He's saying, if we're going to redesign those places, we're not going to redesign them the way they are because we want to change them. Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess what I'm asking is some clarification, like, when we identify those areas, is that just a identification of the
I
pre-existing
believe that's the way I read
conditions,
it.
or is that like, okay.
I believe
It's
it's,
simply pre-existing conditions?
yeah,
Okay.
that's the way I read
understand, all
it.
right,
I
thank you.
misunderstood your question.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
In light of our discussions about form-based code and all that, I think this is the next best thing for what we want to do. If we are going to be redeveloping these areas, I think we should have some say in what goes on, because it could very easily become a big box store corridor, and I wouldn't like to see that.
All right, thank you.
I thought it was an excellent job, but I wanted to input along Eric's line. I think we should they kind of touched on it, but there's two really important things. I think we should have, instead of a setback line, a build-to line. And if you look into form-based code, it's kind of how you control the buildings you build. So you can set, you got to put building here, building there, so you can stagger them. I think the 2 or 3 most important things that we could abstract from form-based code is the build-to line, the fenestrations of more windows and doors, and the changes in roof pitches. It kind of touches on it, but I'd like to see it call them out a little bit more, and especially in the area that Eric mentioned. That's not a really big change if they work that a little bit. They're like circling around it a little bit when you read this, but I didn't really see them call it out. And I think when I've gone back and revisited form-based code, the two most important factors of the stuff we presented before were basically the build-to line instead of the setback line. So you make them build closer to the street, and you make them stagger it. I don't know if you've ever seen, if you build a building, it's a weight solid line, but if you stagger the buildings, it makes it so much more appealing. And if the roof lines changes the pitch and the setback changes in the roof pitch, and then you do the windows and doors, that's the guts of what we need.
It's the
in my
village
opinion.
concept.
Yes, that is the guts of it. And this almost says that, but not quite.
And I think it goes beyond, oh, sorry, is it all right if I interject?
Aren't we taking turns?
Yeah, right.
So go ahead, jump in, finish that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what I wanted to say is I think it goes beyond just the aesthetic as well as like, I think that fenestration and stuff, it helps slow traffic. It makes people behave differently in their cars. From some studies I'd seen, like in general, people drive more slowly when there's more variety.
And remember, we talked about inviting the pedestrians into the site and making the front of the yard pedestrian-friendly. And I didn't see, I mean, I read it, I didn't see quite enough of that. We have it when you look at our business redevelopment zone, and they talked about it there, and we have a little bit of it on Main Street. But they I didn't see it clearly called out on the rest of Davis Straits. And if we're going to really do that right, I think we need to talk about that.
Thank you. Pat?
Well, then I'm going to somewhat reply to Jim. Should that be under the purpose and goals, which is whatever
It needs to be somewhere. I just want to see it
Well,
somewhere.
because it says the purpose and goals, and like most of this whole document is somewhat generic. It's kind of pointing a generalized way. And we said we wanted something to help anybody who wanted to build in Falmouth to have an easier time instead of feeling that we're arbitrary so much.
But we don't want developers to come in and say, you wanted to have flat roofs and big projects like historically it is, just as Eric pointed out. That's not what we're looking for. At least that's not what I think.
That's why I think maybe under purpose and goals is we put in the village concept with variegated setbacks in a subdivision, in a building, and variegated roof lines to, if we can describe it as to be more of the village concept, more inviting in village concept. I don't know.
Well, compatible with the other buildings that are already there as well.
Yes, that also.
You don't mean Stop and Shop, though, do you?
No, not compatible in that way.
That's the point.
Yeah. I mean, when we've had architects speak to us, they talk about making it compatible in that respect.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That I was just responding to what Jim had brought up and Eric had brought up too. When I was reading this, I asked Jed because there are sort of like typos or a little piece of a sentence missing. They can make those changes. Larger changes would have to go back to the commission, and I don't know where the drop dead go to the commission line is. So I brought that up because I saw a few, and because of the day I had, I couldn't copy those pages. The other thing that I had brought up the last time, and Jed didn't quite understand what I was saying, so I thought maybe I ought to reiterate it, that as part of this whole document, we should have the MRCOD bylaw because it refers to the various parts of the bylaw, and it gives chapter and verse, and then you've got to go to another document and say, okay, here's the MRCOD bylaw. If it were as an appendix, or whatever you want to call it, in this document, then it would be right there for people to see, to have easy access to, and also for us, instead of juggling two documents. So I still stick with that recommendation.
And because that whole area is covered by the Mr. Carr overlay district.
Yeah, you mean the large-scale
Yes,
plaza?
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that is, it is in the overlay district.
I think it's interesting we're all going in the same direction. This is our best shot at form-based code right here, and I think we need to take more advantage of it. I think Pat's observation is really good. At what point does it go back to them to be fixed? My overall take on this is a really good start, but it didn't quite get there, and I'd like to point out some very particular things about it. In the beginning, it is saying that there are either 3 or 4, and you get to count them, character areas, and they'll have design principles for them. And it says 3 in some places, 4 in others. That's very confusing. They have identified 4, so they should continue with 4, but it's not consistent throughout. And the place where they lose it is they lose the distinction between the plaza area in East Falmouth and the neighborhood area. And the two are very, very distinctly different. Their characters are different. What we would want them to be probably remains different, and that's not clear at all in what we're looking at. I think that needs to be rethought and separated so that it's clearer. In thinking about it, when I think about those, the job that they did on the historic area is good, although it would be good to encourage people to add a second story where they can. There are opportunities there for residential use in the second stories, but they're not doing it. In the part where it's coming from, it's the second area that they do, and it's shown, let's see, it's being called East Main Street, and I agree 100% with Jim, and I gathered from other people's nods, we all agree, we would like to see a build-to line, that if we start using some of the form-based code language, we're more apt to connect to the developers and the people that we want to have really make use of this document. So yeah, a build-to line is going to be important. And the build-to line in that first step down from Main Street, the build-to line is the sidewalk. The main East Street, it's a little setback. It ought to be clear. We're just stepping back a little. You get to the plaza, you're stepping back a lot, but you've allowed too many curb cuts. One of the things about form-based management, restricting the curb cuts. We're letting everybody drive into practically every building down there, and maybe we should try to restrict that so we could get a more clear build-to line in that area. And maybe, you remember, I don't know how long ago it was, Jim, you were talking, I think at a board meeting, about the land right behind in that plaza area between where the new health clinic thing is and going up to the stoplights. That whole area right actually behind your office, John, has a little street going there. That's a perfect area to put taller buildings right there. And we need to talk about the massing and height of the buildings that would be allowed in that plaza area and make a point of that, because we wanted that to be the high-density residential area, don't we? Yeah, that's what we've talked about it. And yet it doesn't say, whoop, plaza area, high-density, residential, maybe taller. And it allows you, in this document, if you're reading it carefully, you can go up to 50 feet at a certain point, but it ought to be called out. This is the high-density area that we're looking for. We still want a build-to line. We want fewer curb cuts. We want you to be careful about the massing. There's all of that. And then when you get to the T-ticket neighborhood area, you'd pick a more flexible build-to line, but not as far back as they're saying. And you would have fewer times where you could separate out the buildings. You want greater density, but you want a residential character to those buildings. They can be commercial, but they can still be residential. And we're hoping that they will be. So I think the things that we were really, our high hopes aren't written into this. This is more, maintain the character, don't mess it up. Whereas we want it to be, on our first historic area, that's probably where we are. But on the rest of it, we'd really like it to step it up. And we're not communicating that clearly enough. And then I had some picky edits that we can talk about later.
Okay. A lot of great ideas and comments. So the only thing that's left is transportation was missing from this presentation. By making it more walkable, I feel like this excludes like the seniors who cannot walk or park to get to anywhere close to this area. So maybe we consider year-round shuttle buses from a central location, maybe the mall or maybe Falmouth Plaza. And to go back to Jim's comment, build to a line. I agree, because let's not forget this year, the complications we've had with snow removal. from this year's blizzard. So we have to think about that as well.
All right, thank you.
John, I have one thing I forgot. We really need to address changing the parking details, too. I strongly feel, you see it now, it doesn't look like we have parking, but the 4th of July isn't all year long, okay? And all winter long, we have thousands of people in this town, and we don't need to have, so we suffer a couple weeks in the summer. It's like building a church for Easter Sunday. You can't do it that way. We got to cut back on the parking. We've lost a couple good projects because we require too much parking, and we should allow alternate ways to do it. Electric cars, buses, anything else, but some way to move the people in and out. But to shut down really good projects because they're 2 or 3 parking spaces short is really a sin.
Right.
Just that, and to build on that, the other thing that we've talked about and really hoped for, and it's true, maybe it's a town expense, but it could be the expense of people who wish to develop, hiding the wires. One of the reasons the historic district looks so good is you're not looking at telephone poles and wires. It looks like a third, world country here with all the wires and poles going down from Barndo's all the way up to the administration building. So any encouragement we can give to both helping with the parking and hiding those ugly wires, that would be really great.
That was a huge project done between the town, the Civic Association, and the property owners. I sat on the boards and we did that. That was a really, really big expense, but what a change.
Huge.
I remember it was tough to get the last business
Oh,
to
what
sign
a
into
change
it.
it makes. I have a picture of 189 Main Street with a painting before the wires were taken down, and it looks like a ghetto, messy buildings, wires all over the place. Now it's like beautiful. It's just unbelievable.
Night and day.
Wrong word choice. Sorry about that.
Could I also just say, I think they did a good job on the landscaping. I had expected to jump all over that. I was really surprised I couldn't. I think they did a really nice job. Yeah, they did.
That's great.
Yeah, so that part's good. And there's a lot of it that's good and useful. The other thing is, I think whoever built that great little office building there in the T-Ticket neighborhood thing, it's a little design office. It is adorable.
Yep.
It has at least 3 photographs in here. It's like they ran out of adorable. They need to work on that a bit.
Yeah, when we walked the site, the whole corridor with the commission, they were asking, for examples of really nice buildings. And in the T-Ticket area, it was challenging, with the exception of that one building,
Truth, there's a little bit of a shortage.
in my opinion.
Which
And the
building was
opinion
that?
of photographers, yeah.
It's right next to,
Green.
yes,
Right,
Crane
yeah,
Appliance.
Oh, that little teeny building.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice.
It's about this
I
wide.
know, it's tiny, but it's
Yeah, but it's
really
good.
nice.
And everything about it's good.
Yeah.
The landscaping, the design of the structure, even how it fits in right there. The other part that's good in T-Ticket that they didn't call out, that is part of the existing character, it's the only part of town where you can really look through the street lineup of buildings and see to the big meadow behind that really should continue to have been open to catch the water when it eventually gets there. And it's really nice where the park is, where you can see through it. You can sort of see through it behind the car wash building and a couple of the others. Allowing that on that side of the road is really good.
So for the audience and the audience at home, we're talking about this guideline booklet that the Cape Cod Commission presented to us, 48 pages, and it has guidelines for the buildings and for parking and for landscaping. And I just want to, we had some really nice ideas this evening discussion, but I want to remind everyone that this is not just for Main Street and T-Ticket. This is for Wacoit, it's for East Falmouth, it's for West Falmouth, North Falmouth. That's what we're talking about, Mr. Cod.
Correct.
And-
But it doesn't say that, John.
Well, I know that these are just guidelines for a commercial overlay district. which we-
But
we
Mr.
have-
Cod doesn't go down that far because of the amendment that Joe made. It ends where the sewer ends.
But it should say about that in the book.
But we're talking about bringing back Mr. Cod to
Right, if we
to
change
town
that,
meeting,
right, okay.
and that would go to every one of these villages.
Agreed. The ultimate Mr. Cod thing,
So it should
agreed.
include that in this. It should be part of the map, it should be indicated.
Well, I think first we have to get town meeting to approve Mr. Cod in the other districts.
Well, they've approved Mr. Cod in the
Well, the
other
amendment
districts,
to-
but you cannot do it until you get a sewer.
Yeah, but that's,
So it's
and
a
we're quite- that could be
two-stepper for
20
those
years.
parts. That's not hard to say in English as part of this.
Okay.
Isn't that also?
And I think I forgot to mention Woods Hole. That is also a village.
Under
Well,
applicability and use, that statement could come in there that wherever the Mr. Cod district is currently or in the future,
Right.
just adding in the future.
They'll find a way to do it.
But these design guidelines could be used in all the villages.
They can be, but when we start getting off on the part about form-based code, I think it makes it more difficult. Because every village has its own character.
Right.
And, so anyway, it's just my thought
I have
on
a
it.
quick question. Did they have a consultant that wrote this work, or did they do it in-house?
They being the Cape Cod Commission? They wrote it themselves.
With their own team?
Yes. Yep.
Well, they did a good job.
So for the good of the audience at home and for, the board and the attendees here, this is the document that the chair just provided. It's approximately 48 pages. And I'm just going to scroll right to the table of contents. So it divides up the guidelines into easy to digest pieces, but it talks about, essentially what the design of the mixed residential and commercial overlay district would look like in the future. And so for everybody at home, the Mr. Cod district currently is this green area that's shown on the map. So essentially, it extends from just outside here at St. Barnabas all the way up to the Sandwich Road intersection with T-Ticket Highway.
But it was proposed to be all B2 zoning,
Correct.
and there was an amendment at town meeting that limited it to only areas covered by the sewer, which cut half of it out.
Correct. Yep. And if anyone's interested and wants to find it on the town's website, so I can just show you real quick. If you go to boards and committees, click on planning board, and then down on the bottom left, the planning board public hearing items, and there's the link right there, brings you right to the document itself. So again, if anyone missed that, you can go back to the tape, you can watch the video again, but that will open up the document. And if you have any questions or any comments, you can see the planning office. Or come to the public hearing, which is the point of tonight's discussion, is to not only have the board discuss it, but also take public comment.
Yes, Eric?
If the town meeting had the interest around sewering, I know there's other areas beyond Mr. Cod in this general area that are on sewer. Would there be the potential to extend Mr. Cod to a larger area? Beyond like the specific B2 district to include some of these residential areas that are served by sewer?
Well, if it's a residential district, we can't do the commercial.
Keep in mind, Mr. Cod is an overlay district that keeps the underlying zoning in place. It just addresses the commercial uses, and we do it on B2 zoning for that purpose. So you're saying do it in residential A or residential B or residential, some other district instead of just B2. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, so I guess that would require a change to the underlying zoning.
Big change.
Yes. Yes, Pat?
I'm not sure exactly how to express this, because what we have here is a beautiful general document that they put together with a lot of examples, and it's more generalized. What we've been talking about tonight is more specific requirements that we'd like to see. So where does that cutoff line or the balance line, how do we differentiate that in a document like this, that, well, we'd like to see these specific things, but we don't want it to be like a bylaw that suddenly we have to change the whole document because we've become too specific in it. And I'm throwing this out. I don't know the answer.
Jed, if we continue this hearing tonight on this on this item. Can we give you suggestions in writing, and
Yes,
we could address those at the next time we discuss this?
yes, yes. And to answer Pat's question, if I may, it will depend on the specific edit. So essentially what we'll do is we'll gather everything that we've heard, and then we will give it back to the commission and say, you know, are these things that you can help craft or edit for us, you know, and are there some things that we could do on ourselves? And then are there specific elements that the board has suggested that, you know, you might want to weigh in on in terms of that might be a better comment for something else, or yes, we can fit that into this section. So essentially, we just take it back to the commission and get their input.
In the very end, when it gets all put together and the board approves it, these are just going to be guidelines. It's not
Not standards,
not a
guidelines.
standard. It's a
Right.
guideline that we hope every applicant will abide by,
Correct.
just so everyone understands that. Yes, Charlotte?
I agree with Pat that it is general, but it generally missed a major point. So even though it's general, it should have said that this is more or less maintenance for the historic district, but we're seeking change and improvement in the other areas very strongly, and that doesn't come through in this.
Right.
At all. So the changing many of the general statements in this is really in order. The other thing is, what kind of timeline are we looking at here?
I mean, I would suggest that you do sooner the later, because we're aware of several projects that are circling the runway, if you will, in the MRCOD district. So the sooner that you can publicize these guidelines for future development projects, the better. But I would suggest, you keep the hearing open, offer the public another opportunity, review it another time, and then get us all of your comments so that we can try to incorporate them and send them to the commission.
So not just items that we want to present, but the general public could also send in a letter or a note, and
Absolutely, yep,
and that could be considered by the board also.
correct. They could send a letter directly to the Falmouth Planning Board, or they can send an email to the planning office, which is just planning@falmouthma.gov.
Okay,
John?
yes?
Well, one thing I would suggest, like everybody on the board and also public to look at, is New Bedford just adopted a form-based code for districts that's very focused on taking kind of ugly car-based buildings and encouraging people to redevelop them to match the character of actually like higher density historic parts of the town. And I think that that's like a really cool guiding principle that I think a lot of us are like behind. So the way in which they go about doing it, I think is worth looking at. And that could be something to kind of inspire the next step for Falmouth as well. Obviously a very different community, but I think they do a good job of like referencing, historic structures that allow mixed use and high density and stuff in an aesthetic way. And trying to kind of reverse the big parking lot with a little box at the back model of development.
Eric, do you know if that's code or guidelines?
That's actually a form-based code,
So
but I
they
think
have
that
to
it's
do it.
still.
Code
yeah,
means
so
you
they're
have
making
to
it-
do it.
Yep, so they have a set of predetermined structures that you can kind of like do by right. And then if you want something else, you would have to get like a special permit. So it's different than this, obviously, but I think it's definitely a good document to look at.
Thank you. All right, does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? If they do, please come to the podium.
I would just comment, having done a lot of,
Your name for the record,
for the record, Kevin Klauer, Precinct 6. Having done a lot of zoning and permitting work in this town, I would just echo Mr. Fox's comment that I think that we are, broadly speaking, wildly overparked. I think our parking requirements are very high, especially when compared to some other towns that I've done some work in. For instance, just restaurants are a perfect example. One parking spot for every 2 seats, where typically most of the towns you see one for every 4 seats. It throttles development. It throttles. It creates. It's a counterproductive requirement a lot of times. Obviously, yes, there are times like current, but it is that is the outlier as opposed to 10 months out of the year we don't have this issue. And I think that just broadly speaking, we have a very high parking requirement. So I think anything we do to revisit that and look at that, I think is a positive development.
Well, thank you. However, if you try to get a parking spot here tonight, you might have a different opinion.
But I wonder,
I parked here at 8 a.m., so.
but I wonder how many people are parked over at Lawrence School? And if we have a shuttle over at Lawrence, and people were directed to go over there.
That's a good point. All right, I'd like to get a motion to continue this hearing to a future.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous, thank you.
So for the record, let's continue to a date certain, so it would be July 28th?
Yep,
That work for everyone?
sure.
Great.
Great.
And that would be for the public to get comments into you in writing ahead of time.
Yes, sir.
But we could add more comments, too.
Yeah, of course, yes. I want everyone home to
Yeah, give 'em a chance,
understand
yeah.
that.
Oh, and a question or point of clarification, like with the public comment on this, how are we soliciting? It's like by letter mail to those within the district, or
No,
Meeting.
it's a posting in the newspaper.
just posting in the newspaper?
Yeah.
Today, we posted this. This is what we got.
Yep, okay.
It was posted 2 consecutive weeks in the newspaper, 2 weeks prior to this meeting.
Do we have the newspaper here tonight?
Yes,
It'd be great to see an article about it.
okay. Melinda, you want me to do the decision next?
350 Old Meeting House. So, you can read the agenda, yeah.
Okay.
Aren't these all repeats, like?
So next on the agenda is applicant Kevin Klauer on behalf of Outerland Holdings LLC. Special permit to modify and expand the existing contractor's yard with garage, workshop, storage sheds, material storage, and office located at 348 and 350 Old Meeting House Road. And for the applicant,
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, Kevin Klauer. Since our last hearing, representing Outerland Holdings LLC. Since the last hearing, there's been some minor changes to the plan in response to comments of the board. I believe there was the addition of the bollards. There was originally the removal of the gravel, but that's been reinstated at the request of Conservation, who's stated that their preference is that the gravel area in the rear remain. So I believe other than there were some additional bollards and some slight changes to the parking to move the handicap spaces a little bit closer to the actual entrance. Other than that, I believe we've responded to all the questions and comments of the board and engineering department. Happy to address any questions that you may have. Otherwise, happy to hear whatever decision you may have.
I think we have a decision.
Yep, so,
Do you have any discussion first?
so just to clarify, we're talking about the special permit and the site plan review at the same time.
Same time.
And we do have draft motions for both. If there's no public comment, we have to close the special permit hearing. And then you can go ahead and discuss and then read the motions.
Okay. Is there any public discussion? None? Okay, we'll close the hearing. Can I get a vote?
Move to close the hearing?
Okay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Tom, can you read the decision, please?
There's 2 of them.
This one?
Motion that the planning board vote to approve the application of Outerland Holdings LLC for a special permit under Section 240-6.1B of the zoning bylaw to allow for the expansion of an existing contractor's yard with accessory office space at 348 and 350 Old Meeting House Road, with the following findings and conditions. Findings: the applicant is proposing to expand the existing contractor's yard located at 350 Old Meeting House Road on-site and into 348 Carriage Shop Road, and to construct a new 4,000-square-foot office building, which will be ancillary to the contractor's yard use. The applicant intends to combine 348 and 350 Old Meeting House Road through an approval not required A&R application. The proposed site plan shows 28 paved parking spaces, which exceeds the required 27 spaces required as well as a 22-space gravel lot area for overflow parking and a 28-space gravel lot area for equipment, trucks, and trailers. Findings specific to 240-6.1B of the zoning bylaw, the planning board finds that, number one, the 7.37 acre property is greater than the minimum 3 acres required in an AGA zoning district. Number two, the front yard setback is 315 feet, which is greater than the minimum 50-foot distance required in an AGA zoning district. Number three, the property is not within the Water Resource Protection Overlay District. Number four, the applicant is also in the process of acquiring the residence at 356 Old Meeting House Road. This will keep the contractor's yard in compliance with 240-6.1B of the zoning bylaw. Next page.
Can you tell us what that section he just read is compliant? What are they're buying this lot to comply with, what is that requirement?
Contractor's yard.
I know, but they're buying a piece of lot. Is it a single-family home they're buying? So I want to make that point. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yes.
They couldn't do this because it's a single-family home that's too close.
Correct.
So they're buying a single-family home, bringing it into the site, and making it happen. I think that's an important thing to say when we're approving these things. I think that just glossed over it. I just want to be clear that that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Number five, the activities, including traffic between the subject properties and Old Meeting House Road, will not have an adverse impact on the neighborhood, and the construction, width, and grades of adjacent streets are sufficient for safe travel to the site by the vehicles to be stored. Number six, the type and number of vehicles and materials proposed to be stored on the site are appropriate. Number seven, the hours of operation for the contractor's yard will be 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Number eight, no fabrication is proposed on the site. And number nine, the office space is accessory to the contractor's yard. Findings specific to 240-12.1 of the zoning bylaw. The planning board finds the application to be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of this chapter. The board considers the site adequate and suitable in terms of size for the proposed use. The impact on traffic flow and the safety and neighborhood visual character will be mitigated as per the findings and conditions herein. The method of sewage disposal, source of water and drainage, utilities and other public services to be adequate, and that the application will not have an effect on the supply of affordable housing in the town. Conditions, number one, the plan shall be constructed as approved. Any changes shall be reviewed by the planning board to determine if a modification of this decision is necessary. Number two, the list of equipment, vehicles, and materials storage to be allowed on site shall be as represented on the inventory list that was submitted with the special permit application and attached hereto. Number three, the hours of operation for the contractor's yard shall be 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Saturday, and there shall be no fabrication allowed on the property. Number four, pursuant to Section 240-12.1L of the zoning bylaw, the special permit shall lapse 3 years from the date it is granted if a substantial use thereof has not sooner commenced except for good cause shown, or in the case of a permit for construction, if the construction has not begun by that date except for good cause shown.
Second?
Yeah. Any discussion? Yes?
I had a question about a piece of the bylaw. So it mentioned that no fabrication will take place on the site. How is that defined? Is that like,
Zoning defines,
is it such that it's like not a factory, or like, is it saying that like you can't fabricate, like you can't put together? Seems like that might be necessary for working on vehicles or whatnot.
I don't know that fabrication is defined in the bylaw. So we would consult, Webster's dictionary as instructed in the bylaw. But yeah, generally the understanding would be to assemble, to essentially change the shape of material to create something new. That's the way I look at fabrication.
Yeah, so makes me curious about like why it's a requirement, but anyway, we can keep going, yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Next, we have applicant Kevin Klauer on behalf of 28 Falmouth Heights Road.
Johnny has to read the other decision,
The other decision.
the site plan review. There's two.
There are two in there.
Oh.
Almost kind
For,
of push behind
We
the
do the special permit, now we do the site plan review.
site plan review.
I don't have the document,
Should be there somewhere.
probably hidden with all my other paperwork here.
Want to move forward with it, John?
Tom can
Tom's
read
going
it.
to read it, so
All right,
let
motion
Okay,
that the
fine.
planning board,
Tom read it, it's a lot easier.
Okay.
motion that the planning board votes to approve the site plan review application of Outerland Holdings LLC for a contractor's yard with accessory office space at 348 and 350 Old Meeting House Road under section 240-12.2 of the zoning bylaw, with the following findings and conditions. Findings: the applicant is proposing to expand the existing contractor's yard located at 350 Old Meeting House Road on site and into 348 Carriage Shop Road, and to construct a new 4,000 square foot office building which will be ancillary to the contractor's yard use. The applicant intends to combine 348 and 350 Old Meeting House Road through an approval not required A&R application. The fire department has no concerns with the proposed plan. The proposed site plan shows 28 paved parking spaces, exceeding the minimum requirement of 27 spaces. It also includes a 22-space gravel lot area for overflow parking and a 28-space gravel lot area for equipment, trucks, and trailers. The board would like bollards shown on of the site plan for all paved parking spaces around the proposed office building, as long as they do not interfere with ADA compliance, with spacing between each bollard no greater than 54 inches center to center. The applicant requested a waiver from the requirements of section 240-12.2D5 to submit traffic information, and the planning board granted this waiver. Next page. The applicant requested waivers from the requirements of section 240-14.3B to submit a landscape plan and section 240-12.D1 to provide a lighting plan. The board granted both waivers. Public comments were made at the public hearing. The board finds that the applicant has adequately addressed the concerns raised. The Town of Falmouth departments have reviewed and commented on the above-mentioned application, and the planning board finds that the applicant has adequately addressed the comments. The board finds that the information provided by the applicant conforms to all the requirements of section 240-12.2 of the zoning bylaw. Conditions: number one, the plan shall be constructed as approved. Any changes shall be reviewed by the planning board to determine if a modification of this decision is necessary. Number two, any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. Number three, construction of this project shall follow the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions document, which can be found on the engineering division's page of the town's website. Next page. Number four, the project shall meet all applicable standards set forth in the building code as determined by the building commissioner. Number five, the applicant shall see the engineering division for address assignment for the new building prior to applying for a building permit. Upon completion of construction, the applicant shall post the address for this building per section 99-1 of the town code. Number six, the applicant shall obtain an approved driveway permit and post any required bond with the engineering division before the start of construction. The applicant shall complete the work approved by the engineering division in the driveway permit. And number 7, pursuant to section 240-12.2 of the zoning bylaw, this site plan review decision shall lapse 3 years from the date it is granted if substantial use thereof has not sooner commenced, except for good cause. The determination of good cause shall be made by the planning board.
Second.
I have a question. I think something's missing. I see we're waiving a lighting plan, but I thought we were going to have a condition that would comply with dark sky lighting, and I didn't hear that in the conditions.
You can add it.
You want to add it?
Well, I brought it up the night of the meeting, and I'm all set with waivering it,
Yeah.
but I don't want to give up on dark sky. I mean, the
Right.
light shines on the ground, not in the air. It's pretty simple.
So just make the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I made it when we did the last time. I make the motion we add dark sky compliant.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Yes,
I'd like, not so much a discussion, but a comment. I think Jim brought a good thing to the attention of the board and to the public, that this really is combining 2 lots in order to have the whole thing be acceptable as a contractor's yard. And it would not really be acceptable in the character of that neighborhood, except that the site plan that we're approving shows that the residential character of the street is maintained. All the contractor's yard items are nearly 300, on the plan that we're approving, are nearly 300 feet back from the road. So what we're approving isn't changing the character of the neighborhood, I believe. So, yes, it's true what you said, Jim, and it's good to point it out, but it's also good to point out that we were mindful of the change.
We have to vote now on.
And the amendment.
all right. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
Now, I'll move that we vote to pass the draft with this amendment. Motion if it's read with this amendment.
Any comments, discussion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. All right, next on our agenda is applicant Kevin Klauer, behalf of 28 Falmouth Heights Road, special permit application to allow parking within the front yard and within 5 feet of a property line at 28 Falmouth Heights. He also has a site plan review for this. Kevin?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. For the record, Kevin Klauer. We submitted some revisions to the plan, specifically to stormwater management, about a week ago, but I spoke with Ms. Tondera today, and she confirmed that engineering has not yet had an opportunity to comment, so we would likely need an continuation of this hearing in order to provide them an opportunity to do so. We believe we've met all their requirements. I think one of our last hearings prior to some of these changes, we talked about potentially drafting a positive motion to accompany the following hearing, but since we have addressed those comments pending their confirmation, I would suggest that might be a good way to move this forward.
Do you have a date?
I think the next hearing date is the 28th, so we'd like to go with that if it's possible.
I thank you. So, a motion to continue to the 28th.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Is it possible to have a positive motion drafted for that, potentially?
So they've already been drafted,
Okay.
because we were told last meeting to do that, as long as engineering,
Okay.
but I'm just waiting for engineering
Okay.
to make sure that, so they're,
So we
yes.
can review the engineering
Great.
test.
Yep.
Any discussion? Second?
It's been seconded.
Second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Don't go away. Next, applicant Kevin Klauer, on behalf of Anthony Amaru, special permit application to allow parking within the front yard at 538 North Falmouth Highway, and also site plan review application to construct 5, is that same location, or maybe?
Yeah.
Yes. 5 duplex townhouses with associated parking located at 538 North Falmouth Highway.
Great. Since the last meeting, we have retained a traffic consultant and are working on some modifications to both the site plans and architectural plans. We expect to have our traffic consultant report back, hopefully next week. Regardless, we're not ready to proceed tonight, and would like an opportunity to continue so that we can submit that traffic report as well as the revised plans to the board in advance of the next hearing. I would suggest we could try to do the 28th if that works for the board.
Is that good? Okay, can I get a motion to continue both hearings?
Move to
to
continue on, both together we can do, I assume, since we're handling them.
Yes.
Second.
On behalf of Anthony Amaru, a special permit application to allow parking with the front yard in 538 North Falmouth Highway, and also the site plan review.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
You also. Next, we have applicant Brian Yergatian, special permit application for relief from dimensional regulations as applied to exempt uses regarding a proposed solar photovoltaic carport at 709 and 737 Gifford Street. And also, I'd like to take this in conjunction, site plan review application to construct a solar photovoltaic carport system over the existing boat and RV storage area at 709 and 737 Gifford Street. And for the applicant,
They're not here, but
Not
they
here?
requested a continuance to August,
asking for a continuance. Do you have a date?
August 11th.
August 11th, okay. Can I get a motion to continue both hearings to August 11th?
Continued, motion to continue both the special permit and the site plan application for Brian Yergatian to August 11th.
Second?
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, unanimous. Next on our agenda is an item, I'm going to recuse myself from this hearing, and I'll let, Pat, can you take over for this, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. The applicant for this hearing is Brian Wall Esquire, definitive plan application to rescind a previously approved definitive subdivision plan under GLC 41, Section 81W, for the roadway known as Adeline's Way and lots created thereunder.
Pat, the public hearing notice.
Oh, public hearing notice, sorry.
Public notice for this project was published on June 19th, 2026, and June 26th, 2026, and 29 abutters were notified by regular mail.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the board. For the record, my name is Brian Wall. I'm an attorney. I have an office in Sandwich, and I'm representing the applicant tonight, Dave Fricillo, who is here in the audience. Also with me is Mike Berselli from Falmouth Engineering, in case you have any questions regarding what we're asking you to do tonight. Mr. Fricillo is the owner of a parcel of land known as 0 Adeline's Way, which is a parcel of land off Old Barnstable Road. The property was approved as a planned residential subdivision in 1999, also with a special permit, otherwise commonly known as a cluster subdivision. The subdivision was never constructed, and Mr. Fricillo bought the property about a year ago, and he would like to not proceed with the construction and do something different with the property. So what we're asking the board to do is to rescind the subdivision approval from 1999 and return the land just to essentially a large rectangle so that he can kind of decide on what he's going to do going forward. And that would be under Chapter 41, Section 81W. And that's really it. It's not that complicated compared to what you just went through.
I have a technical question.
Go ahead, Jim.
My understanding, if a subdivision wasn't built within 3 or 4 years, that it lost its approval, and we really don't know this. This should be reverting back to the zoning. That's exactly what was applied to the properties that I was dealing with on Kendall Lane many times. And we had to come in and every 3 years ask for it and ask for it. And now, I thought it should already be gone, is my understanding. I would like our planner to tell us whether that's true or not.
Yeah, so in a subdivision, they have I believe it's 8 years to execute.
What was the date here? 90-something.
Yeah, 90s. And that allows for zoning protection, meaning they can take advantage of the subdivision as was created under the zoning rules at the time. If the zoning rules never changed within that 8-year period, obviously that's, a moot point. But this formal process is essentially wiping the record, if you will, clean of the cluster subdivision and replacing it with the plan that you see up on the board. Jim, to your particular statement, you're correct. Every 3 years, you need to essentially continue to build of that subdivision if you had obtained a special permit. Otherwise, it lapses. So you need to show good cause. In this circumstances, yes, technically, that 3-year window expired, and therefore, good cause wasn't shown. This is essentially just wiping the record clean. So setting a new dinner table, if you will.
Why?
I think it's already done, is my point.
It is technically already done, but
Okay,
this
that was a technical
replaces
question.
it. Yeah, this replaces it at the registry so that everyone who looks at that property now sees that it is no longer a cluster
Well,
subdivision.
you made us come back every 3 years and kind of get it approved again, to keep it alive, because we tried to keep it alive for like 15 years.
Yeah, right, because you were continuing to do construction.
No, we hadn't started yet. We're just trying to keep the subdivision.
If you were trying to keep it, yes, if you were trying to keep it alive.
We never started. Anyways, I wanted to be clear that I understood the law.
Yeah.
I'd also like to make a comment on this too, because that particular property had DEP digging around trying to find things. The back part of it is a dirty site. And I think the cleaner we can keep the title on this,
I'm not opposing
the
it.
better.
I was for my own
In case anybody
information.
has questions going into the future, that's just my feeling, is that the cleaner the title is on it, the better.
No pun intended.
No, no pun intended. You caught me. Thank you.
Noted.
Can I respond very quickly to two?
Please,
And it's
please do.
not really a response, it's just more of a commentary. I agree with what the town planner said, Mr. Fox, about why we're doing this. It's to clear the slate. This was both a definitive plan and a special permit, and we believe that special permit expired long ago. But if you go to the registry today, kind of on a very nuts and bolts level, and you look up the property, it still looks like a subdivision, even though it's probably legally lapsed. And so we're trying to clean up the record so that we can start fresh. And Mr. Fricillo is aware of that contamination on the property. He did
I
due
see.
diligence before he purchased it and plans to address that.
Could I just push this a minute longer? I would think the thing that you're looking up over there in the records office is dated, so that the date alone would tell you that this is outdated. You don't need a further action
You mentioned the date.
as long as the document's dated.
So when you rescind a subdivision, you have to bring it back to a certain plan. So that's what they had to do. They have to file a new plan showing that it's just what it is now, and that's one lot.
I think it goes back to the plan of record before the subdivision. I disagree with that. That's what my experience is.
Again, I think you're just saying it in different
Reading
ways.
this up too much, I'm
It
sorry.
really is simply to just clean the slate.
Do you
and
want
start
to do it,
from
let
scratch.
him do it.
But we're saying the slate was cleaned by the elapsed
The
time.
special permit was, but not the definitive. So it was 2 applications when it came before us. So yes, technically, the special permit was lapsed, but you have to clean up the definitive plan part of it. If you don't agree, that's fine.
No, this doesn't.
but
Let's
it's
do
just-
it. I'm
it's just
sorry, we're
cleaning the
wasting time.
record.
Excuse me.
And again, it's kind of a nuts and bolts thing.
Doesn't matter.
I'm not a conveyancer or a title attorney. I dabble with it, but I don't do that kind of work. But they're the most conservative lawyers. If they see any problem, they don't want to advise a bank to lend on it or anything like that. So by operation of law, it probably has lapsed, but to clean it up and for practical purposes,
Cha-ching.
we want to do this.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions or comments on this? Okay, then I would need a motion.
Pat, you need the public. If the public
Oh, I'm
wants to-
sorry. Is anybody here from the public who wishes to speak on this? My bad.
I do have something to say.
You have to go up to the microphone there.
No,
And please state your name and,
what I have to say. I have to say a few things.
Okay, state your name, please, and where you're from.
My name is Deanna Burke, and I am in a butter at 350 Old Barnstable Road. And I'm here because I have some concerns about this property that is next door to me. It's not only the noise, but there's cement being dropped along the property. And I'm just wondering, is this going to be a commercial site? Or is this an agricultural area that I'm living in? Because there's cement, there's noise, there's commercial trucks. Just saying. So that was my concern.
Thank you.
What are they going to do with the land?
I have no clue. We can,
I'd like to know. I really would, because right now, there's cement being poured over there. There are commercial trucks. There's a lot of noise and a lot of banging. And I am a little nervous about being here because I never speak in front of a group, but I just had to make my concerns known.
we're
Okay?
friendly people. Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
making your concerns
We
known.
advise her to see the building commissioner.
Well, yeah, they would have had to have had a permit from the building commissioner, but does anybody have any answer to her?
Well, I think everybody in the room probably knows Mr. Fucillo owns a concrete business, so he might be using it as kind of just parking or something, but there's no proposal right now. Part of this process is to clear the land and then figure out what he wants to do with it. So, and I do agree with Ms. Harris that anything has to be in compliance with zoning.
Can I answer the lady's question?
Sure, yeah, Dave, go right ahead.
Please come up to the microphone.
Just answer
Thank you.
Yes, because I was a little...
Yeah, no, you should. It's a legitimate question.
Thank you.
So this winter, oh, I'm sorry.
You have to state your name.
David Fucillo.
Thank you.
This winter, we had a very severe winter, and what happened to us was at my facility on Thomas Landers Road, where we normally dispose of concrete, we have a lot of leftover concrete that we put into molds, et cetera, et cetera. We had so much snow that I had nowhere else to put the concrete, so that's why you won't see the concrete trucks anymore there. You probably saw it there for about maybe a month, and it was a few trucks that when we had concrete at the end of the day and we had nowhere else to put it, I put it on the ground there, and I plan on going and jackhammering out the concrete, bringing it back to my facility and crushing it. So that's what happened. We actually, on my property, it took us almost a month to clear the snow. We had a snow pile that was 200 yards long, 50 feet wide, and 40 feet high. I could show you pictures. It was crazy. We had so much snow, and we had nowhere to put it, so we even hauled the snow off-site. Luckily, my buddy Sam LaRusso let me haul some of the snow over there to get rid of the snow. And so, as I said, we have a lot of concrete that comes in every day. We put into molds, we put into screeds, but we had nowhere else to put the concrete, so I said, I'll go over, dump it here, and when I get some time, I'll go over and break it up, and that's exactly what's going to happen. As far as the property goes, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do right now. Right now, I'm just trying to get it properly on, with what we're doing here. I do have title insurance because it is legal, so, and I do own the property. So that's basically it. And being perfectly honest with you, I don't know what I'm doing with it. I have a billion ideas.
You have trees on it now and dirt.
Yeah, trying to get it cleaned up. It was, I can tell you, it was, if you saw it was quite a mess when we took it over. And we have been, and you do see us screening loom because we had this crazy amount of the prior person that owned it, and it wasn't Melvin. This was another guy. I don't want to mention his name, but he left quite a mess, and so that's what we've been doing is cleaning it up.
So you've been very forthcoming.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. and I
Yeah,
hope
but that's what happened with the concrete, and you won't see, I might bring a mixer over there to pour some pads, being perfectly honest with you, but that's exactly what happened to us this winter, so.
Yeah.
Could I just ask Mr. Fucillo a question, or
course.
whoever would have the
Yeah.
answer? I just don't happen to know what the process would be for that. Do you need a permit of some kind from the town to be putting stuff there?
I know that
You want it.
the
It's
land was
yours.
2 parcels that's going into one, but it was that part of it was agricultural. where that is agricultural.
And does that allow you to dump concrete and
I don't
stuff?
know, to be perfectly honest with you.
I would, if I may, just for the, I would advise you to just, visit the building commissioner.
Yeah.
Talk about what you want to do there, and he's very accommodating, and he'll.
Yeah, and I've talked to Gary a number of times about stuff that I'm planning on doing, but like I said, I've just been extremely busy, and I'm not trying to pass the buck. That woman has a legitimate question. I wanted to give her a legitimate answer of what happened. That concrete would not have been there had we had not such a severe winter.
Right, thank you, thank you.
Just in the future, before you put any more concrete on the lot, talk with Gary.
I will.
Because you might need some further permitting.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Jim, you
you.
wanted to say something? Nope.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
No.
No,
We
you're
we
right.
have to move on with the meeting, thank you. You're welcome.
I don't have anything
All
further.
right, then I need a motion
To what?
Close.
oh, we have to close the hearing, to close the hearing first.
I move we close the hearing on whatever this, on Fitzgerald's application.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, we need to vote
The rescission.
the definitive plan application to rescind a previously approved definitive subdivision plan under GLC 41, Section 81W for the roadway known as Adeline's Way and the lots created thereunder.
So
I move the,
you just need to request us to draft a positive motion for next
we
meeting.
can't just do it right now?
No.
Because we have to read it into the record.
Yeah.
But we can't rescind it, and then you bring the motion to us.
No, the whole motion is to rescind it and it at once.
Okay. That's what happens when I get instructions to begin with. Thank you. All right, so we need to ask our planning staff to draft a positive motion to rescind Adeline's Way.
And it can be on July 28th.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time tonight.
No?
That's what happens when I don't get all my instructions. Okay.
Thank you for taking over, appreciate that.
Of course.
Okay, we all set?
Yeah.
All right. Next is planning board discussions, fall 2026 town meeting, planning board article, zoning articles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will take it from there. So up on the screen, hopefully, is the material that is in your packet for this evening. You may recognize the layout. This is very similar to what I gave you at the last meeting. It basically describes the potential articles that you may seek to bring to town meeting in the fall. So I will just go through them very quickly. And the reason that the packet is so large is because of the last article that you asked for would be to expand the MRCOD district. So we touched upon it a little bit earlier this evening, but we'll get into the meat of what that looks like in just a second. So, Article 1, as we talked about at the last meeting, that is technical corrections. So Scrivener's errors, changing references to things such as you can see up on the screen, where we say Board of Selectmen, we're going to change that to Select Board, et cetera. There are areas in the zoning bylaw when we start making changes to the numbering that those references don't catch up, so we have to correct those in multiple areas. So you can essentially see what we're planning on doing in that section. Article 2 is the duplex conversation that we talked about at the last meeting. Again, the proposal would be to allow duplexes in all of your single-family residence districts. I'm going to go through each one of the articles first, and then we can go back if you'd like, and we can handle questions and comments. What I showed you here is a request from the board, essentially outlining how other Cape Towns handle duplexes within their residential districts. So there's a lot of information here, but essentially it's a mix of special permits and allowing them by right. There are a couple of communities who simply don't allow duplexes at all. And so they're sort of outliers, but for the vast majority, it's essentially a tie. Some
Can you mention what they are? Those two, the couple that don't allow them at all?
don't allow, let's see. So Brewster, as you can see, two-family dwellings are not listed as an allowed use, and I think it was, you're testing my memory. Barnstable. Barnstable lists them, but they're not allowed in the residential districts. They allow them in the commercial districts.
So Barnstable's huge. That's all
Barnstable's-
the villages.
Right.
That's a giant impact. They don't allow them anywhere. So we will not be having this Osterville, Cotuit, Marston's Mills
Again, in their residential zoning
under
districts.
residential zoning.
Yeah.
We are probably going to be doing in Falmouth.
Potentially.
I
You know,
just think that's.
based on the conversation we had last
Clear
meeting.
what we're talking about here. I don't think everyone understands this article.
Okay, well, let me get through everything and then we'll
sorry.
go back. So the other item that I added for you in this item is the initiative that the Cape Cod Commission recently took on was creating essentially a catalog of dwellings, dwelling types. And so they tried to create floor plans and building plans that municipalities could potentially allow a developer or a property owner to utilize with the building department as a quicker way of making their way through the permitting process. And so I've itemized those here. You'll see them in the attachments of your packet, but essentially they created a number of potential duplex structures that essentially, in my opinion, look like single-family homes. I mean, it's really tough to discern, other than the two doors, of course, allowing access. So I added that. Article 3, same edits as described at the last meeting, so I won't go into that too much unless there's questions. And then Article 4.
Wait a second, let's go back. You said potential duplex, but this also uses semi-detached, which looks
Yes.
quite different.
Yep.
So we kind of glossed over that. That's included, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Right, because that's a big, first part said, oh, we won't even notice, but it also says semi-detached, which I will believe discernibly different,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yep.
I'm not against it, but I just want the language to be clear
Sure.
to people at home, because no one's here. I guess we're talking to the television.
Yep, and to the video. Yep. So then Article 4 is expanding the MRCOD district. So this one's the big conversation. I expect this one to be the big conversation item tonight. So the idea would be to go essentially back to 2021, where you proposed the MRCOD district in all areas of town, as John was mentioning earlier, any B1, B2, or BR districts. And so what I've done here is I've given you, so we'll get through these duplex. So these are the duplex plans that I was referring to. So these are just examples. And again, I'll go back to these, but I want to get to the MRCOD area. So this is, hopefully everyone can see that. This is the original town meeting map that you brought forward before the amendment on the floor. And so what I've done is shown on the screen all the areas that would be added with this article language. So essentially what you would be doing is, instead of referring to the MRCOD district as a map, you would essentially just say any B1, B2, or BR district, the MRCOD overlays that, and you're allowed to do whatever you're allowed to do in the MRCOD district. So, and attached to that are two items. The nitrogen sensitive map that shows which B2, B1, and BR districts which are in nitrogen sensitive areas and which are not. And then each one of those districts themselves zoomed in so that you get a better idea as to where each area is. So keep in mind, so each one of these maps is item, it's articulated as area number 1. So you can go back to the main map, and down here is area number 1. So we have 21 potential new areas that could be added to the MRCOD district. So that is essentially the summary of your packet. Happy to answer any questions that you might have about these articles.
John, can you just go over for the public, Jed, just briefly B1, B2, and BR zoning, just a quick explanation?
Sure. I think that's probably best done on the GIS map. So essentially your business 1, business 2 districts. Your business 2 district is your most lenient business district in town. So it allows the most amount of uses, and you can see up on the screen anything that, I'm going to hover over the biggest B2 district, anything that's in this sort of light reddish color, that allows any number of commercial activities. I can't list them off the top of my head, but it's the most lenient. Your B1 district is essentially your downtown area. So we'll show you. Those are areas just outside here and along Main Street. Not as lenient as the B2 district, but importantly with the B1 district, you do have a full parking waiver. So any development within that district does not have to provide parking whatsoever. And then your BR district, which was, I think, adopted in 2004, somewhere around there, that was your first attempt at mixed use. And so that's primarily on the eastern side of the Main Street corridor. And then there's a pocket down in Woods Hole. I'll just zoom out a little bit. There's a pocket in Woods Hole right down in this area. But as you can see, when you zoom out on the zoning map, I'm just going to try to do this carefully because it moves quickly. You've got pockets of B2 districts throughout town. So there's pockets up here, up in the Sandwich Road and 151 area. And then primarily it's along your 28 corridor and down into Main Street and Depot Ave. So that's essentially the description of your B1, B2, and BR.
Something doesn't look right to me. The general residential districts, that color.
Yep.
You're showing the Acapesket, lower end of Acapesket, all that same color.
It's very hard to discern. So that's RB.
Okay, I suggest that was extremely confusing.
Yeah, you see how close the GR and the RB is?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I thought I was really missing something.
Yeah.
I think you should try to do something about that color.
Tweak those colors a bit, yeah. Yeah. So.
I was going to say, why aren't we doing it in GR? It's everywhere.
Right.
That would have been a huge change.
So Judge, should we take these articles one at a time?
I would suggest that, yeah.
Okay. Let's start with Article 1, technical corrections. They look reasonable.
Mm-hmm. And again, those are just technical errors that exist in the bylaw. One item of note here on the second bullet, with the recodification effort, we changed the way we describe the residential districts as single residence districts. And so it created a lot of confusion for folks who are normally, I mean, just look at the zoning map. We refer to our residential B and residential A districts. Well, in the zoning bylaw, it says S-RA. And so people get confused with, well, where's the S-RA on the map? And it's just a simple error that we want to correct. And instead of calling it single residence districts, we just say residence A, right? So it's a minor change.
All right, thank you. Any discussion on that article?
Yeah.
No, my only concern would be, and I don't think it's been a concern before, when you say altogether there are 11 items that will be in this article.
Yep.
Has that ever caused any confusion with town meeting?
So in the time that I've been in town, we've only done it one other time, and it went through fine. And again, a lot of it's like, for example, in this section of the bylaw, it says refer to section 10.2A. And really, it's supposed to say 10.2B. And so we're just changing a letter or a number.
No, I
making it very
understand
minor.
that. But if anybody raised an objection to any one of these things, would that put the kibosh on the whole article, or can a vote be taken to remove that from the article?
I suspect amendment could be on the floor that would remove that particular item.
Okay.
I plan to put together a presentation, obviously, that goes through each one of those, if anyone holds it and wants clarification.
I'm sorry, I was so confused with the color thing, I actually forgot this, we're breaking these into, could you restate the thing we're voting on right now?
Well, you're not voting on anything. You're just discussing whether or not you want to bring these articles
fine.
to a public hearing.
Oh, we're bringing them all?
That's the idea.
Okay, then I do have a comment on them all.
Okay.
But we're going to decide on
Let's
them
start
one
with
by
number
one.
one. We're on number one right now.
Okay, could I have a
That's why I asked
comment
the
about?
question which one we're talking about. I was trying to do it at an appropriate time. I thought you're doing them all at once, so that's why I was doing it. I'll wait till
We're
later.
going to do them all tonight, but not all at the same
okay.
time. So we're on Article 1 right now.
John?
Technical corrections. Yes, Charlotte?
On Article 1 only. No problem with it. It's a very sensible thing to do. But if it turns out to be the only one that's going, I would say it's not enough to bother with. We just tack it on to whatever the next one is.
I couldn't agree more.
Any other comments?
No,
Okay.
makes sense.
Yep. Does make sense. Okay. Article 2.
So again, this is an outcome of the Housing Production Plan Initiative. It's been talked about before. The idea here is to, go with the maximum impact and to potentially allow for duplexes in each one of your single-family residence districts. So, and I should say residence districts. The only area in town, your residential districts, that duplexes are allowed by right is your general residence. The remainder of these zoning areas, as seen up on the screen, essentially you would allow them either by right or by special permit if you choose. But essentially right now, we're suggesting by right.
John?
One second, please. So Jed, if we went forward with this, could we attach the design guidelines that the Cape Cod Commission for as part of this, or? could it
Not
just-
as currently written, no.
Okay. Okay, do you think it would be a good idea to add that to it, or no?
Well, you couldn't add it necessarily to the guidelines that you have tonight, because those are specific for the mixed residential and commercial overlay district, which wouldn't apply here. So if,
We showed, you had some duplexes.
Yeah, but they were from Mr. Cod, right?
right, so those design those design
These are for
guidelines.
single-family residences in North Falmouth.
Well, for-
Everywhere, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
they're all
but-
single, I'm going to make a point in a minute, I was just using language to emphasize what I'm talking
Okay, you
about.
answered my question, thank you. Charlotte, go ahead.
On Article 2, have we moved to
Yes.
Article 2 now? On Article 2, I had requested, as you know, I spoke against it vehemently, and I had requested that we find out what the other Cape towns are doing along these lines, so we would know, because I'm concerned that we would be aligning ourselves, particularly on the Upper Cape, to do something that would mark us out as being different from the other communities, not preserving our Cape Cod character carefully. And as I look at this and counting up who is doing what among the 15 communities on the Cape, we see that there are 3 of those communities, Barnstable, Brewster, and Wellfleet, that say no. They're just not going to have duplexes in any residential area. We see another 3 that say by special permit only, which means they're going to have to turn up and argue their case and present pictures and make you known what they're doing there. So we now have 6, and then we have 3 more where it's limited, where they've limited it to only one particular type of residential area or placed a limit on it. They don't want it everywhere. So that's 9 of them. That leaves 6. Fewer than half of the 15 are saying yes to duplexes everywhere. So we really will be out of step with other communities immediately near us and the communities we probably would most like to resemble. So I would say, as you know, I hope we don't go forward with this anyway. It's not a good idea. And then I want to ask a question. This new information is restricted just to residential areas, whereas the proposal for Falmouth is that it be all agricultural areas, because we allow single-family houses there, and all residential areas. Do they have no agricultural areas in any of the other 14 towns?
It's generally just, I mean, and we, just to be clear, we consider the agricultural zoning districts to also be residence districts.
Oh, you do?
Because you're allowing a single-family home
So
in
the
that district.
9 that are saying either no or very limited, that covers everything. So it will put us really out of step. And I'd like to note also the ones that we're in step with. So, because I think that matters. Are these, I don't know how familiar everybody is with the aesthetics of these different towns, but we would be in step with Dennis, East End, Harwich, Truro,
Bourne,
and Yarmouth.
wasn't Bourne one of those two?
Bourne allows by right in one district and not allowed in the other.
Right, so you need to think about that. Are these the towns we want to be most nearly like? And they are all in the Outer Cape, they're not really here. Just think it puts us out of line with the other communities. And it's a danger to our property values.
All right, thank you. Jim?
Well, I feel that in order to deal with the housing issues, we have to discuss this. But I was really hoping that we'd have meetings and discussions and neighbors to talk about it and have full discussions. And now we're not even going to have a local discussion. We're taking it right to town meeting. I was hoping. What?
No, this is the pre-conversation before your public hearings.
So we are
You
still going to
invite-
have public hearings on
Yes.
that? Because if we're taking this to town meeting, we're going to blow up town
No,
meeting.
not yet.
I wanted to have a hearing time where we listen to people, and hopefully, I would have thought they'd been here tonight, but they'll have a chance to come in. I hope the paper brings it up, that this is a radical change, could change the look of our town drastically, and we should have people come and talk and see if they want to
We're
do
trying to
it.
decide if the board wants to bring it to the public. I can see the planning department wants to,
What I'm
but
trying to
do
say,
we want
Charlotte,
to?
for the pressure that we have on housing, I think as the planning board, we have to at least bring it up to discussion for our town people
We
to
should
talk
limit it.
about.
Do we want to make it everywhere?
I just hoping this wasn't the only discussion, and now I know, I'm out at, I'm too soon, I'll wait till the next meeting.
Thank you.
Pardon me.
And just to clarify, the planning department didn't bring this forward.
Who did?
Well, like
We
I said,
didn't.
it was an outcome of the housing production plan. It's been
Notice this birth from that.
I'm sorry?
Where's this coming from?
The housing production plan, the
All on
public
its
process.
own, it leapt off the page. I would say the planning department took it from there and brought it here.
Well, that's our role.
Yeah, well, we're here now.
That's,
Bob?
Yeah, I think that it should be restricted to certain zones and possibly a special permit. I think to just keep going the way we're going is not the way to go. I've always looked at people who have had a duplex, and the word duplex, we've tried to avoid that with the accessory apartment bylaw. We went with 40% because everybody was going to, go nuts over the 50%. All a duplex is 50%. It's like having an ADU that's in equal square footage of the primary residence. And
Well, the state already does that.
right, and that's what we're looking at. Right now, anybody in any of these zoning districts could throw a 900-square-foot ADU
Three-bedroom ADU.
on the property now. And you talk-
Attached or unattached?
Attached, yeah.
Either way.
With no architectural review.
So we're looking at duplexes that can go up anywhere. And I would like to have a little bit of control over it, and I think somebody that wants to buy a house or build a house, how many homeowners got their start with a two-family or a three-family house? And I think it's a way of getting younger people into the market. It's a lot easier to get a mortgage with a property that is income generating. And as far as the footprint, it's not going to be any different than somebody with an existing property and adding an ADU. And I just think that we need to look at this very carefully. I don't think to throw out the whole thing without the discussion. And by right versus special permit needs to be discussed. I think the design part of it could be something that, part of the special permit process, like we did with the accessory apartment bylaw, where the ADU had to resemble the character of the neighborhood, it had to resemble the house itself that it was going on the property with. So I think we do have some control with it. And if it's a special permit, the neighbors have some say in it. I don't think that if we do any of this, we're going to see this ballooning of two-family homes on a piece of property. And it always comes down to the septic anyways. Whatever the septic system or the land mass that it's sitting on can handle, that's what's going to determine how many bedrooms and how many square feet. So I think it's an important discussion to have, and I don't want to just throw this out without any discussion.
There's two things I want to comment. We're forgetting they're also saying semi-detached, which is a totally looking thing. And just so you know, I know for a fact on a 12,000 square foot lot, you can build 3 units, 2 bedrooms each, it fits fine. I built several of them because we used to allow them under our zoning. I went around town and found all the lots we could do it. It was in B2, and it said you could come 2 to 3. I built a ton of them. So you can have a 12,000 square foot lot with 3 units on it, all 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
That's not simply a duplex, okay?
And if you can put 2 families on a 2-acre lot as opposed to 1 family, I think that's a better use of land.
I do too, but...
All right. Eric? If you have any comments, or if you want to wait?
I do, yeah. I think that if you look at like what the Cape Cod Commission and others are recommending, right, is that we should be expanding the opportunity for duplexes in residential districts. I think that having it in the agricultural district will increase, the land value and push people further to do non-agricultural uses of the land. And I don't like the fact that it includes the agricultural districts. I think that there's only a few towns on the Cape that have agricultural districts. And so we should try and continue that. But I do think that, and also just generally for like transportation planning and stuff, I think that we're going to be increasing, the number of people per area. And I think it would make more sense to approach this in a more targeted way around like specific, and in general, I feel like it's not necessarily moving in the right direction in terms of like, what were you talking about as a board a lot is trying to establish a form-based code. And here we are kind of like mildly expanding the potential uses on a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I think it should be more like spatially explicit. And not just like all districts that you can build a single-family home.
Well, all the districts you can build a house right now.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it shouldn't be all
and-
districts that you can.
And you can do it with an ADU.
Yep.
So that's out of our purview at this point. And part of the reason, the thought behind duplexes is that, as Bob has mentioned many times, is it allows a younger family to own a home and have someone else next door helping to pay the mortgages. So a lot of the duplexes are really for younger, the design is for younger people to get a start. Okay.
I'm in no way
Tom?
I'm sorry.
We'll get back to you.
Okay.
Tom?
I'm just aligned with what Bob said, just, we don't want the Wild West, we just need balance, Just in agreement with all Bob's
Okay.
comments.
Pat?
I'm completely in agreement with Bob. I
Well stated.
don't like to put an additional requirement of a special permit, but I think we have to.
We'll be meeting every week.
We don't have,
Is it going to be a ZBA special permit or a planning board? Let's
Oh,
get
it
into
has
the
to be.
ZBA. That was a joke.
Yeah.
daggers. No, I think it has to be a special permit. I think it can't be in every district. We have, what Eric is saying, we don't want to get rid of any of the agricultural land we have left, but in agricultural, you can build a house anywhere. And that's what's happened. So we have precious little agricultural land left. A huge concern I have is, okay, if you allow this in any residential district, what size lot are you putting it on? Is it served by sewer? Is it septic system? Do you have the reserve for the septic system that you would need for a failure on either of them? There are way too many questions that would have to be answered to give it by right. And as you've said, you can put an ADU on it already.
I want to bring up something we've done in the past that was a big regret, and it took us a long time to move it along. We started allowing, I think it's 6 units per acre, or 6 or 8 with the special permit, in our industrial zone properties. And we started building condos all around town, and we built up all the condos. And then all the industrial people came and said, we have no more land for contractors' yards. We drove the contractors out of town. Because this sounds very similar to doing the agricultural side and opening it up and driving. I just wanted to point that out. We've made this mistake in the past.
I think, like, to chime in, like, I'm definitely not opposed to the concept of duplexes. Like, I think it's fantastic, right? And ADUs is a good step forward. But, you know, if we're to do this in all districts, you're going, like, because there's almost unlimited demand for housing, because people want to get second homes and third homes and whatnot, you know, like, you're not gonna, you're gonna just increase the land value for that particular use. And like he's saying, like, if you have an industrial land use that was allowed, and then you allow condos, because of the nature of the market, it seems, you're gonna get condos. You're not gonna get, and we need to have places that, you know, contractors can set things up, or people can make food. And I think that, like, it's just because of the way that the market functions, we're, like, gonna just end up with as much housing as possible. And it's not necessarily gonna be affordable either. I don't think that we can make the claim that this isn't a simple, like, supply and demand issue. Like, if you just make more housing, it's by no means gonna be necessarily affordable. I think we really need to look at how we can enable affordable housing, what we can look at, you know, inclusive zoning and other measures like that like guarantee that you're gonna get something that's actually affordable to people.
I've got one more. I feel strongly with what Edgar said. Just take a look at the recommended marketing prices that the 40Bs are doing on their market rate units that are already building in town, and say, is that affordable? We gave them the extra density, the towns let them doing it, and they're saying going to cost $900,000. Is that some of the costs I've seen? So that just hammers the nail on what he just said. That's what we're talking about.
So do I hear that you would potentially be okay bringing this article forward to a public hearing if you eliminated all the agricultural districts?
No.
I just think
We're still discussing.
It has to be, I'm saying this primarily to get the people out there to understand what we're going to be talking about. I want to listen to what they want and then bring forward what they want and not just what we think right here. I think we have to have really serious hearings with the people that live in this town. I'm just surprised they're not here on this.
Well, again, keep in mind, this is just a planning board discussion. When we get to a public hearing, that will be advertised in the paper twice, so that we will spread the word about a potential zoning article. That way people will know, and then be likely to come to the meeting to discuss it.
In a zoning change, do you have to notify the abutters?
So there are rules related to that, but
Which means, would we be sending everybody in town a notification on this?
not
Or the
for this,
only thing
no.
they're going to get is what we publish in the
it
paper?
would just be the public.
That's the point I was trying to make right there.
You only notify abutters when it's 10 properties of total
Right.
or less. If it's over 10 properties that are in this whole change, then only an ad goes in the paper with the.
Okay, so this already
yeah.
falls into that rule. Thanks for clearing that up.
Unless I've misunderstood him, I'd like to speak against what Jen just proposed, that we bring this article, as it appears now, to the public. I think the public voted for a planning board to be able to discard bad ideas, to whittle down bad ideas until they're better ideas, to have some effect on it. That if we are planning to bring something to town meeting, it should be something that a majority of us can stand behind and say we agree to it. As it is now, it doesn't sound like it. We're definitely going to have to either say no to all of it or modify it pretty severely. We would not be bringing this to a public hearing because we do not have a majority agreeing with it as it is.
Oh, this
We haven't taken the vote yet.
is our first evening of discussion. Second, well, the last one wasn't much of a discussion. Before we have another discussion about this, what I would appreciate, if it's possible, for staff to let us know how many parcels of agricultural land we have in the town of Falmouth vacant that is 5 acres or more, agricultural only.
What will that
That's-
information do for us, John?
Well, there's a lot of concern that the agricultural land's going to get, not going to get farmed, it's going to become houses. I don't think we have much farmland in this town. We just have some agricultural land.
I think it's very important to make it clear, too, that agriculture is a protected use. So that means it can exist anywhere in town. Anywhere someone wants to have a farm, they
The
can
right
have
to
one.
farm is a state law.
Correct. It's a protected use. So when you say agricultural zoning district, I think it's very important that you be careful about what type of uses are actually allowed in that agricultural district.
It just means the amount of land. John's talking about the volume, because how much of our land in town is zoned agricultural compared to residential? That's the point.
Yeah, I
Not
mean, look,
important,
you can see on the zoning map that, so everything in green, essentially your inner portion of the town is your agricultural districts, right? And so those districts allow very similar uses to
And the
your
lighter
residential
color too,
districts.
right?
Yep, so here, I'll show you.
Right, there's A, B, and C.
But all those,
All that.
all that parcel in green is not vacant.
Correct.
No.
Correct. And keep in mind, allowing a duplex doesn't mean that you can only build a duplex on a vacant lot. Anybody could transform their lot into something different if it's allowed within your bylaw. This change just essentially allows another potential use. Currently, you've got a number of uses that you allowed in the residential district. People are just choosing not to utilize those currently.
Yeah.
All this does is just add another option.
So I'd like to make a few comments, and then we go back to individual members again. First of all, I think that the fact that some towns have duplexes allowed and some don't really doesn't matter to the town of Falmouth. We have a housing crisis in this community, and I feel part of our responsibility is to do whatever we can do to assist in that. And I'm going to read off some facts and figures here that I have from the Cape Cod Commission, just to give us an idea of where we're at. In 2024, the average sale price of a home in Falmouth, median sale price was $792,250. In 2025, that increased to $849,900. So that's an increase of almost $60,000 in 1 year. The median household income for Falmouth 2024 is $93,000. To purchase a house, median price house now, you have to have a family income of $250,000 or more. And in the town of Falmouth, that's a very small number of people. And like I said, the median income is $93,000. And I think we have to find a way to allow housing that families can have a chance to start off with. If duplexes is the answer, or part of the answer, I think that we really need to consider bringing it to town meeting. If town meeting says no, they say no, but I think that as a planning board, our responsibility is to plan for the future. And as I said to Jed, we had a couple of meetings about this, I said to him that, you know, what the planning board does today for new ideas, new plans, new regulations, it may not really have a huge impact for 10, 15, 20 years, some of these ideas that we have. The town meeting has to approve and becomes a bylaw. Some of them will have an impact immediately, and some may take a long time to take effect. But we have to look to the future. And right now, 61% of our population in the town of Falmouth is over the age of 45. And we lost, in the last 5 years, we lost 17% of our school-age children. I mean, they're not in school anymore, they're not here anymore. So, and this part about people concerned about the size of a duplex, what's it gonna look like in my neighborhood? drive around some of the neighborhoods and look at the houses, the little ranches that are being torn down on a 10,000 square foot lot, and it has, a 4,000, 5,000 square foot house built, a single-family home built on it, that two people are gonna live in.
Yeah.
Two wealthy people.
Yeah.
So I think as a planning board, it's our responsibility to find a way to help solve this problem. Because guess what, and I've said this to other towns, we had 2 local comprehensive plans that we approved at the Cape Cod Commission about 2 weeks ago. One was for the town of Orleans, and both these LCPs were 200 pages long. We had Orleans, and their affordable housing rate now, the SHI is 11%. I kind of challenged them about that. They got a little indignant about it, but they said that they are certified 11%. Harwich, 4.9%. And they didn't, at first they didn't seem to really mind being at 4.9%. And until I had a discussion, public discussion, that what's happening in the town of Falmouth. We used to be at 4.5%. Now we're 9.5% or somewhere in that range. And we're not at 9.5% because we changed the bylaws. We're at 9.5% because the state has a bylaw that got passed in 1969 that is now being used in our community. We got 104 apartments on an acre of land over here. We have senior housing across from the senior center, 48 units on what, an acre? Half acre, whatever that was. I'm not saying these are bad projects. We have 300 to 900 apartments being proposed on Sandwich Road on 25 acres. I mean, we are at 9.5%, not because we chose to be at 9.5%, because the state made a bylaw that's being used in our community. And if we don't do the right thing, something's going to be done to us whether we like it or not. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. So as a board, I think we should have one more discussion about this before we go to the public.
John, there are other reasons why we are there and they are not. You can't get there without subsidizing a lot of that. This town has chosen to subsidize a lot of that. We've recently picked a new way. We're going to give them land. We're accepting proposals on it. We've used a great deal of the community preservation money for this purpose. We have made it possible here, and many communities, these other communities, have made it much less possible. So it's not only because of the state, it's been active choices made by Falmouth to get us here, and I'm proud of it. I think that's great. But I think the point that Eric made, that Jim tried to reinforce, that I now would like to reinforce again, is building more housing doesn't create more affordable housing. Our experience here in Falmouth over the last decade is more housing equals more market rate housing, more extremely unaffordable housing along the West Falmouth Highway, which I drive often enough to be more aware of it and drive up the little side roads, look to see what they're up to. They're putting in condo communities that are, nice, it'd be great to live in and so forth. Nothing wrong with them. You think, but they're kind of small. They get no outdoors. It's kind of open to the neighbors. It's not what you call really luxurious living, but they're close to $1 million each. This isn't affordable. Building more, as Eric said, as Jim said, as I'm saying, as everyone sitting here knows is a fact, more does not mean affordable. It just means more. That's all it means. And we have now blown the opportunity at some later date to use it for a better purpose if we wanted to. So part of your reasoning, I sympathize with it. It'd be great to have more affordable housing, but I don't see this proposal as any way to get there, not a route.
So I was on CPC for a few years, CPC, and I saw the amount of money, approximately $3 million a year that the committee had to discharge. When I first got on the committee, of that approximately $3 million a year, $1.8 million was being spent every year on land for preservation. That was started in approximately 2003, 2004. So
That's mandated, isn't it, for the CPC?
It was at the time, but not enough money. While I was on there, enough money got set aside to cover the bond that was used to buy a lot of open space. So now we had extra money that wasn't going to be set aside for open space, and we started to use it for affordable housing. But as you said, a lot of money is being spent on affordable housing, but every one of those affordable housing projects is being done under a 40B. It's not because the town of Falmouth said we can have 6 units per acre, 10 units per acre, 20 units per acre. The town is helping to fund it, but all of it is being done under a 40B bylaw.
And therefore, we should do this?
Because there's no other way to do the
But you
zoning.
can't get from that fact to this proposal. There's not a way to get from what you're saying to say we ought to allow duplexes in all of these places. One doesn't follow another.
Well, that's why we have a difference of opinion.
We do. You're right.
I have a question. Isn't there a push from the state for smaller lots coming at us too?
Uh-huh.
We need to pay attention to that.
Again, who decided that? The Falmouth Planning Board?
I said, isn't there?
Or somebody in Beacon Hill?
I said from the state, is what I said. I
Right.
thought that was pretty
No,
clear.
No, I know that. Well, I'm saying, I want the public to understand, Jim.
Okay?
I know
okay.
we understand.
I was clear.
I'm trying to make a point here this evening that we need to plan for the future, and I feel that this is part of the plan. Now, whether it goes in every zone, whether it goes as a special, as a site plan review, I think, or it doesn't go at all. That's something we need to determine, but if we don't, I just feel we have to do something to make it, give a younger family an opportunity to buy a home and maybe own the unit next door to help pay for their home, which is what Bob said was, when he was a young man, was going on in a lot of places, and still goes on in a lot of places. So the biggest problem here is the cost of land right now. I mean, and that's not going to get less expensive, but.
And is the alternative to just throw our hands up and say, okay, there's all this land, rich people are going to buy it, they're going to build big houses, they're going to buy existing houses, tear those down, and build another big house. So it still doesn't do anything about the housing problem on the Cape, so, or especially in Falmouth. So I like to look at all different avenues to try and solve this, because there isn't one way of solving it. My preferred method would be any 40B development should be a nonprofit, that it should not be a for-profit builder that does it, because they have to make a profit. You know, in building costs and land costs are expensive, and you can't expect somebody to build something and have 25% of it be affordable and not make a profit. It's just the cost of what it is. I mean, it's not possible to build an affordable 40B development and make it affordable. They're just not affordable.
Well, that's what the nonprofits have been working on.
Right. And
Falmouth Housing Corp., Falmouth
Right.
Housing Trust.
Right. So that, to me, that's one of the major things that should happen, is that 40B developments hopefully could be mostly with the nonprofit organizations that we have on the Cape. Because for-profit 40Bs aren't affordable.
Or for profit.
Yeah, they're for profit and they're not affordable.
I have a quick comment. I don't disagree with Bob or John. I agree wholeheartedly. I just have a lot of experience in the marketplace. I just want you to know, I remember growing up, or when houses in Seacoast Shores sold for $60,000. And I one time went to the Falmouth Housing Corporation and said, here's 100 listings in Seacoast Shores. They're all on $100,000. Why don't you buy those and make them into, and they didn't want to do it because they wanted to have big projects. They didn't want to have all the little management. Right now, people are tearing down those houses, and they're selling houses for $2.5 million in Seacoast Shores.
Right.
4 houses from the water. You can't see the water. On little teeny lots that sold for nothing. Just think if they can make them to 2 families, how fast it would accelerate that
You
process.
betcha.
I'm not against this. I just understand the impact of it, and I want to have the town talk about it. And I'm trying to bring these examples for discussion. I am not taking a position against this at all. I'm just trying to deal with the reality of it.
Okay, so we've had a pretty good discussion so far this
Could I
evening.
just
I
say
wanna-
one more thing?
Okay, now I want to ask the board if they want to have another discussion about this one more time before we go to the public, or if this would be it for our discussion. Go ahead.
I'd like us to agree as a board before we take anything to the public.
Okay,
That's my preference.
Okay.
And I would like to say something that I think that we maybe could agree to as a board, okay, at least I would agree to, and then see what you think of it, is we would remove the agricultural districts from this layout up here. So not in agriculture, just leave those alone.
So
And for the-
all agriculturals, all three.
Yes, all, without regard
If
to
there's an
anything
A
else.
in it, it's no longer.
And for all residential districts, so they're all treated alike, because I wouldn't want to be in the position of picking one over another as a better place for duplexes, to say all residential open for duplexes by special permit only. That's my proposal.
Okay. Go ahead, Jim, you were going to say something?
Well, I think that's a little widespread if you look at where some of the agricultural, some of the we really have treated agriculture as residential. And if you look at the Acapesket Peninsula and some of the upper parts of those peninsulas are agriculturally zoned, but they're all single-family. So it's like...
So we have to work with the zoning we have.
So my question would be why...
I think it should be
what is your
more a
concern
line
about-
than a
What is your
district.
concern about including agricultural zone?
I think this is too wide open, absolutely too wide open for the town meeting to vote for, so it's dead in the water. We want to do something, this is going nowhere. How can we limit it in a way that is more acceptable, at least to the board? And we're not going to be able to now, first we have to change what's an agricultural zone and make all those little tinkers. We're not going to be able to do that. So one way to limit it pretty quickly and understandably, not in agricultural zones, that are, as you can see, mostly on the aquifer, so we can explain it. And all residential zones, because we don't want to say, we're not going to put duplexes out by the shore where the rich people are. We don't want to say that. We don't want to say we're going to stick them only in East Falmouth. We don't want to say that.
Everybody lives in Falmouth is a rich person now.
Well, on paper, but you have to go somewhere.
You
So,
have to sell out to get...
yeah, my neighborhood, we laughed about it, we're all millionaires. So, so I would not pick any favored residential district and zero in on them, but I think we should really limit this so that we don't start as a wide open thing. We're making a step forward, this is the step forward the planning board can propose. What do you think about it?
All right, thank you. Pat?
I wouldn't even begin to want to take this to town meeting until we as a board can agree on something. And it's way too wide open. But I also think we have to, as a board, take a more holistic approach towards it. The state decrees, but are they providing more fresh water for us? No. Are they providing more sewage treatment to us? No, and they say you can't get it. And this is what I mean by that. If we bring more population in, and please understand, these 40Bs are a big laugh. They are not affordable. That's something that has to be taken care of, and I believe our select board is starting to work towards getting that changed in the legislature. Lots of luck, and I do wish them, I'm not saying it snidely. I do wish that this could be changed legislatively, but I think we really, as a board, have to take a holistic look at this. Where can this possibly be done? Can it be done? Why couldn't we have a little community of tiny houses, all prefab?
Well, let's stick with duplexes for tonight.
No, but this is a kind of a concept like a duplex. You could
On
have
40,000 square foot lots. We have to change the lot size first, Pat, to do that.
We do. But my point is, until we can be comfortable as a board with what we're proposing, that it is actually realistic to be done, from a sewage treatment standpoint, a water standpoint, I don't see how we could go to town meeting and stand up and propose it.
I think we're all saying the same thing. We
Yeah, I'm not in
need to
disagreement.
flesh this out.
Yeah, I want to flesh it
And
out.
have some real concrete
Yeah.
notions about it, so that we can discuss those concrete items and take it from there. I mean,
Yeah, one point.
go ahead.
I interrupted. Oh, you were done? Okay. Like, I think one thing to just think about is like, as we want to expand multifamily in town and like, you know, push kind of like the, what's accepted and everything, I feel like if we bring this forward, I feel like it might kind of shut people down to some ideas that would actually be super productive. Because I think people would have kind of a knee-jerk reaction, even if it's not catastrophic or anything by any means. I just think that you know, you can see how like Mr. Cod took so long to get through in like already the business district, and then at the last minute, people amended it to limit it. You can see how like even something like that was so, you know, seemingly controversial. And I just wonder if like, beyond just like the merit of the particular article, if also like kind of public sentiment wise, this could be counterproductive in trying to accomplish the goal.
Jed, would it be possible for our next time we discuss this, to give us an idea of how many vacant lots would be available in areas other than agriculture?
I mean, we can certainly do that.
Just to give us an idea of, is there 100 lots, or there's 40 lots, or there 700 lots?
Sure, yeah.
So people have some idea, if we went along with Charlotte's idea of not having it in agricultural, how many, theoretically, how many duplexes could be built, maxed out on those vacant lots? And I know that somebody could tear a house down and build a duplex, I understand all that,
Or
but
you could just add a wing on your house.
Yeah, I mean, so you get into some really murky water when you start going down that path.
Okay.
But, I mean, we can absolutely give you a sense for how many vacant lots are in each zoning
but
district.
people's imaginations go a little crazy. They say, oh, we'll have thousands of duplexes in the town of Falmouth.
Yeah.
And
So just to be frank, you've got, a time window here, right? So tomorrow, if you're ready for publicizing these public hearings, which we're hoping you are, regardless of how many articles you're bringing forward, we need to send a public hearing notice to the paper so that it can be publicized on Friday. Right. So it would be noticed on Friday. There would be a 2-week period in between, and then you would hold your public hearing. Open your public hearing on the 28th. So what I'm sensing here is that the duplexes one, maybe you just delay. Maybe you just put it aside and you have that conversation over a longer period of time, and you can potentially come to some consensus, because it sounds like Charlotte's at the beginning of potentially something, but it's hard to tell whether or not folks are in alignment with it yet. So, maybe you just delay it till April. No harm.
I don't want to delay it.
foul.
I don't want to delay it.
November? April.
I'd be willing to go along with her idea of zones other than agricultural and a special permit.
Okay.
And I'd just like to point
Or a
out,
site plan review or something, whatever.
Well, we can write up what you need for the special permit, and the planning board is the permitting agent, I would assume.
Yeah, that would be the next step, is to determine who's going to issue the special permit, ZBA or the planning board.
Planning board.
and you also need to consider what is already by right in all these agricultural districts. Cemetery, childcare center, group daycare, library, museum, passenger station, religious fire station. I mean, there are all kinds of by right issues or uses for the agricultural zones anyway. So, there's a lot there. So I think
I agree, but I think we're going to have to compromise in order to get something to go forward here.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave the agriculture out myself, but.
Yeah.
But you're willing, just so we don't lose that
I would
point.
like to get this to move forward. We need a way to find housing that people can afford to buy and live in this town. And we need to at least make an attempt to do that. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And we talk about, we have this, Board of Health now says we're gonna have to put denitrification in new structures, new residential structures. But, we have many, many, many homes that are 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, septic system designed for 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, and there's 2 people living there.
I live in one of those.
Yeah, I mean, that's the average household size of Falmouth is 2.2 people.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of
I do also want to point
4,000,
out.
5,000 square foot homes with 2 people living in them.
Yeah, and John, you touched on it a little bit. So as everyone's aware, now with any increase in flow, if you're in a nitrogen-sensitive area, any increase in septic flow, wastewater flow, I should say, the Board of Health is requiring a denitrifying septic system. So,
An expensive denitrification.
right, so it's a way to mitigate the impacts to the, the groundwater. And then, just like any other law, a duplex is going to be constrained by the setbacks, the lot coverage, the parking requirements, et cetera. So it is a compromise
Yeah.
to start at least the conversation with the public in 2 weeks about potentially doing special permits in the residential districts and removing their agricultural.
What would you recommend, special permit or site plan review?
So, well, it would be by right or, yeah. So with site plan review, it would not be an eligible review for that, because your site plan review bylaw currently says everything except single-family and two-family structures
Okay.
gets site plan
We
review.
did special permit for detached ADUs,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
so,
And the state kicked it out.
yeah.
I would warn you against going with a special permit for a duplex, only because I don't
AG won't
believe,
approve it.
yeah,
And
the
how did these people get away with it?
Well,
I've got a list right here.
likely past zoning articles. I couldn't tell you for certain, but what we are seeing from the state clearly is an initiative to create more housing. ADUs are now allowed by right. They're allowing undersized lots that are no longer under common ownership to be built with smaller housing. So I'm just providing you
There's
professional.
there's no need for us to try to second-guess the state. If that's what they do, fine, but we should go ahead and propose what we feel we could justify in some way if it ever went forward, and if they turn it down, fine, that was their problem, not ours. We don't need to self-censor beforehand just because we're afraid of what the state will do.
Okay. Noted?
So we'll put that as part of our next discussion. Well, we have to decide now.
Yeah, I would recommend you decide tonight so that we can start, have the public hearings. But again, if you're not ready, just defer it.
Could I make it as a motion?
Yes.
I move that we go forward for public hearings on a proposal that includes only residential zones, but all of them,
Okay.
and they're all by special permit, and the planning board is the permitting authority for duplexes.
All right, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Yeah. All right. Discussion?
So this is intentionally leaving out agricultural.
Right,
That's the purpose
For
of it.
now.
yeah, we're leaving out
Can
agricultural.
we add that later, or?
No, we're not saying that now. What we're saying
That's
is
the
we
point I'm
go,
trying to make. You want to exclude agricultural.
right,
That needs to be specifically stated, so we don't come up with some agriculture at another time,
right.
because it'd make your whole.
You never know what
make
you're going to do in the
move.
future,
I
but for
just-
this proposal going to town meeting,
I'm having a hard time figuring out what this is going to be. I don't disagree with anybody, but I just think it's so hard to talk about what, I don't even understand it that well.
So basically, Charlotte's saying AGA, AGA, and AGB come off that table,
Yep.
and everything in R, double A, single A, B, and C changes from a Y to
SP.
SP. It would likely be SP-P for planning board. And to be clear, that includes essentially all of your outer limits of town, right? So everything in West Falmouth down to Woods Hole, and then across the fingers in the south, anything that's not green and
it's all the
purple.
residential districts alike.
It's not just, well, is that a purple or green? I mean, I'm a little bit worried. There's agricultural on the Finger Peninsulas too.
Yes,
Is that
there's
a
a little
green?
bit. There's
Saying that?
there's one right here.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anything that's not green,
Okay.
purple, or red.
okay. Purple is I was looking, you didn't say purple, now I agree.
Public use.
Well, there's a lot of it.
It's all the peachy ones.
So, aren't there parts of Woods Hole that are agricultural?
No.
No?
Golf course.
How about
I mean-
further up,
Oh.
by the bike path?
Maybe, I mean, you've got a little, where does Woods Hole start and end, right? Depends.
Is it
Like
really-
Hatchville?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, your furthest agricultural
Is that piece right
area
there?
is
Yeah.
over here, but
Yeah.
it's conservation protected.
Okay, and the neighborhoods around that aren't
Correct. Those,
agricultural?
right, those are all residential A.
So
Okay.
the double A residential are the ones down there on Penzance Point and so forth,
Yes, ma'am.
and they're included,
They would be included,
they would be included.
yes.
Those mansions could turn into duplexes. Too cool.
After we tear them down and rebuild them.
Well, then you can get more.
And You could have somebody tearing down a little cape and putting up a duplex.
Yep.
All of Seacoast Shores.
Again, it's got to fit on the lot, it's got to maintain the lot coverage, it's got to fit
There are
within the
limiting
dimensional
factors.
requirements.
There's always
You know what, I think it would help, I know it's going to be hard, but I believe I could actually endeavor to do it if you need help. Designing what size lot you can put 2 3-bedroom duplexes on the septic system, so you get a 6-bedroom system on a lot. I think you're going to find it's going to be around a 20,000 square foot lot it's going to fit, including the D-Night system.
Yeah, we don't want to make these,
Okay.
somebody can do a 2-bedroom duplex, and
I was just doing to understand the magnitude.
Yeah, but Jim, what are you going to do with that information? Because those would be included in what we're just proposing.
Because they're going to be $1 million homes. I'm just saying they're not going to be affordable. Okay, forget it.
We already made that point. That's true no matter where you put
Yeah,
them.
I think it's really important.
moot point?
To
Okay,
distinct.
I agree.
To
Sorry.
differentiate between the housing and affordable housing. That, I couldn't agree more. It's a challenge, but that's not what we're describing here.
I mean, one question I have is like, as we're trying to reach the 10% SHI threshold, could this create a problem? Because our total number of units would increase. And then so like we could see that percentage fall despite putting considerable public effort into producing. stuff.
Well,
Yes.
that's the problem with 40B.
It always
Go on.
fluctuates.
Right, yeah, like I wish we could, I mean, it's hard because of the state, like I wish we could do other sorts of inclusionary zoning to incentivize affordability in like everything, but 40B kind of makes that moot, I guess, but.
In a way, this is self-limiting. We were afraid with the ADUs, oh my God, they're going to be everywhere. No, they're not, because they're not cheap.
Yeah.
Duplexes aren't cheap.
No.
You bring up all the things that are allowed on agricultural land. How many libraries have sprouted up? I mean, you got to really think, reality here.
so I think we're in pretty good shape.
So, well, you had a second and a discussion. I don't know that there was a vote. Did I miss it?
It was
We
not
didn't
a
have
vote.
We're done with discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
So,
I'm not
Which way
going
you
to vote.
going?
I haven't made my mind up yet.
Not in favor?
They're voting, Jim.
You are?
I know, I don't, how do I
Not to
vote?
take it to town
I
meeting.
guess you abstain.
Abstain?
Take it to town meeting.
How does the vote go? I couldn't.
I think it was more in favor, but I thought Charlotte raised her hand twice, so I'm not sure. Maybe you
He always does that.
Wait.
I tried.
did you vote against your own motion?
Geez, I hope not.
And for it.
I think there was a confusion about what they were voting for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
There were 4 in favor.
there's 4 in favor
Favor of what?
Tom, were you in favor? 5 in favor.
of moving forward with the,
1 against and 1 abstain.
With the limited proposal, right.
the change.
5,
Okay.
1, and 1.
And to be clear, that limited proposal is special permit by the planning board in all of the residential districts, nothing in the agricultural districts.
Yeah.
But did it also include taking it to town meeting in November?
No, it's just
No,
one
no.
public hearing.
Oh, well then,
Just,
put me in,
just to advertise the
This
hearing.
is
fine,
just
put
to
me in
get,
favor then.
because we can have the public in here and we can discuss it and then we can
And we can drop it
can it,
down.
Exactly. You could
Okay.
say no.
Yeah, we can just
Right.
say no.
No, I thought that was part of it, though, that we were
No.
holding
No.
a hearing to take it to town.
No.
Okay, I'm going to vote, I want to have the hearing, is really, I
Yeah.
wanted to have the
Yeah.
hearing here. I was afraid
The dime.
I'm all set then to have the hearing.
We assumed you voted yes.
Okay, I voted yes, sorry.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Can I
That
just-
should be unanimous. I
Thank
just,
you. Thank you, Charlotte, for your input.
Can I just bring up one point?
Thank you for
also?
saying
No,
that, John.
no,
I knew
we're
it.
out of time. We're out
I
of time.
can't? Okay, well, it
Okay,
would
go
it would
ahead.
help yours.
All right, go ahead.
So, it's already allowed in general residence, and I know general residence is a small area
Yeah.
in town, but not everyone is going to general residence and putting up duplexes. So, like I said, I'm not saying that everyone will or won't use the duplex bylaw. I'm just saying you do already have it as by right in general residence, and I don't see.
If your last name is Fox, you do.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Article 3. Are there any questions on Article 3?
I forget what it is.
Still on.
So there are 2 sections of the non-conforming bylaw, which currently allow for the zoning board of appeals to do something by a special permit when it is clear that a variance would be required. So that, right off the bat, needs to be corrected immediately, in my professional opinion. So those two sections are part of this article. And then the third piece of the article is essentially just incorporating the new language from the Affordable Homes Act, which says adjacent lots that are under common ownership are no longer considered common ownership as long as they met the zoning requirements when they were formed, have 10,000 square feet of minimum lot size, have 75 feet of frontage, and are restricted to building an 1,800 square foot single-family home on the lot. So essentially, all we're doing is taking that language from state law and incorporating it into the bylaw. So in my opinion, this is a very straightforward and easy article because we cannot allow the Zoning Board of Appeals to do something that isn't allowed by state law. And then 3, we're adding in new language that state law says we should or have to.
That's Article 3.
That is Article 3.
Yeah.
I think we should support that.
Yeah.
I support that. That's fine.
Run that by me again, somebody, one more time.
Are you just pulling my chain or?
No, I really want you to run it.
So there
I
are,
can't see it there, that's why.
so it's not written up there. This just gives you a very, very
Okay.
succinct summary because I'm trying to use less words. There are 2 sections in the current Article 10, which is your non-conforming structures, uses, and lots. There's 2 sections that allow the Zoning Board of Appeals to change certain aspects of a lot by a special permit. That is not allowed. Actually, one of them's a lot change, and another is allowing another non-conforming use by special permit. Those 2 things are not allowed by special permit. Those are allowed by variance. So we've currently in our bylaw.
What do you mean by another non-conforming use, other than residential?
No, so it says if a non-conforming use, if an applicant wants to change a current non-conforming use to another non-conforming use, they can do that by a special permit. That's a variance. That's a use variance.
So if you had an existing 3-unit building,
Sure. That's non-conforming.
it's non-conforming, but it
Use.
meets the level for approval, which is tough for non-conforming. The years in existence and all that work, they can no longer do that.
So let's say a property owner has a 3-bedroom or a 3-unit apartment building and it's a non-conforming use. It's not allowed by
It's in a
zoning.
single-family zone, 3 units
Right.
in a single-family zone, yes.
And they want to change to, say, automobile repair shop, which is
Okay.
also not an allowed use. It's a non-conforming use.
I
That
got
says
you.
we can do it by special permit. That's totally not
I'm all
allowed.
set. I agree. I just happened to have done several times, take a piece of land that had 3 houses on it and got it, which was a non-conforming use, and built 3 condos on it.
Okay.
And
Yeah, so
it's all residential. And that's a special permit, the neighborhood approves it. I wasn't making them into auto shops.
Right.
I agree.
yeah,
Okay.
that's a use variance. That's absolutely a
No
variance.
use variance is the key.
Yeah.
Just the existing use.
Eric,
Well, you're not changing it. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
These are very technical things, and I just need to understand it.
Yeah, I remember a few months ago, there was, I think it was like John Turner Way or something. It was like a house that was actually 3 apartments and a garage that was an apartment. And there was like a bunch of debate because that was like a non-conforming use and they were trying to get a special permit. How would that interact with this?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to say, but the details of that, if they were trying to legitimize a use that was there already, that's a different conversation.
Okay, so that's unrelated to this.
Right.
Okay.
If you're changing that use to something that's
One
also not allowed
non-conforming
in
to
that
another
zone.
non-conforming.
Right.
That's really the
You
important
cannot
part.
jump from one thing to another via special permit. That's a use variance. So
Which are not allowed, even in the
Yes.
state.
Well,
It's
I
just,
mean,
yeah.
right?
Some communities allow them, but generally speaking, use variances are not allowed. Because again, you set out rules in your zoning bylaw that says, in this district, you're allowed to do X, Y, Z. You're not allowed to do X, Y, Z, and if you so choose, you want to do, A, B, and C. No, the rules are pretty clear on what you can and can't do. If you want to do something that's not allowed,
Trying to get away from like having rule of man as opposed to rule of rules or something?
Bingo.
Okay. Now I understand.
and the same applies with non-conforming lots. You cannot change the shape of a current non-conforming lot, make it more non-conforming by a special permit. That is not allowed. So that current language is in there. our
This is
bylaw.
related to the Affordable Homes Act?
No, those are just
okay.
two sections in the non-conforming section that need to be corrected. Then the third section is the Affordable Homes Act, which brings in new language about common ownership and smaller lots, basically, without getting too into the weeds.
Okay. Everybody understand it?
So if you vote to bring it forward to the public hearing, we'll have that article language for you. We'll explain it in more detail.
So can I get a motion, please?
I move that we bring it forward to a public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you.
Okay. Article 4. This is the big one. So as I mentioned, this article essentially seeks to remove the language in your bylaw that says Mr. Cod is restricted to, and I showed it before, so I'm just going to show it one more time. It's restricted to this area as shown in green. And we'll turn off the satellite because everything is green. So that's your Mr. Cod district currently. And this article says, okay, let's go back to 2021 when you proposed the Mr. Cod district to include everything shown here in red on this map. So that would include areas up in North Falmouth, along 151, and again, generally along the Route 28 corridor until you get to the current Mr. Cod area, which is generally right in this.
And they're all currently zone B2
Yes, there's a combination of B2
and BR.
and BR. Yeah. Generally, your B1 is just your
BR is
downtown.
just in between, downtown between, okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Anybody else need some air?
Yeah.
Open a window.
It's going to make it colder?
We need to breathe. It's hot and stuffy.
Okay.
Going to sleep.
So, what you need to be aware of is that there are essentially two categories of additional lots that are going to be added here. There's those that are not within the Mr. Cod area, and then there's lots that are within the Mr. Cod area. They just don't happen to be on the existing sewer system, okay? So let me just zoom in and show you what I mean by that. So it's a little fuzzy, and I've got the individual maps. They are numbered 18, 19, 20, and 21 in your packets. These are lots that technically are within the general area of Mr. Cod, so essentially they're right outside. They just didn't happen to have a sewer connection, and so therefore the amendment at town meeting in 2021 essentially excluded them. Even though they were in the geographic area, they didn't have that sewer system connection, and therefore they were not eligible. So those four are a different category than something like the areas down in Woods Hole, which, as you can see on the screen, are nowhere near the existing Mr. Cod district, and they're also not on the sewer. So there's two different categories that you just need to be aware of. So I can walk through the individual maps if you want. Seeing no resistance.
John, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Charlotte.
The guidelines that we're considering are not really ready for this expansion, because there are different characters for these. There'd be new character areas. And if we were to go forward with this to the public hearing now, thinking it might go in the fall, we're undermining our own guidelines. I wonder if we should do this, not that it's not worth doing, but is this the timing that we want vis-à-vis the guidelines?
I disagree. We had voted for this, we're all ready to do it, and we took it to town meeting, and Joe Netto put the exclusions they want on the sewer. We had already agreed to do it by the things. I think we had already decided we're going to do these areas. They're all previously approved by this board, and the only reason is Joe Netto got up and put the exemption that it had to be on the sewer.
And it missed by
I
one vote.
understand that, I was there for that, but I'm sure you know that the guidelines that we're considering don't include these additional areas.
It's a good point. It's a good point made by
Don't they include all our new
Charlotte.
areas?
No, because those aren't within the Mr. Cod district
But
right
they
now.
missed it, but we're changing it, they will be when we make it
No,
Mr.
no,
Cod.
but the guidelines don't include them yet, Jim. You have a copy of the guidelines. It has 4 character areas.
Right,
None of them are the ones that we're considering for an expansion.
Well, we didn't have that problem the last time we approved Mr. Cod for
No,
all
we
these
didn't,
areas.
but we have it
So, yeah, I think
now.
you're stepping backwards here, but if that's what you're gonna do, that's okay.
So let me just provide a little bit of extra detail. And, you know, we've talked about it before, but again, that Board of Health regulation that says any new flow in your nitrogen-sensitive areas, your denitrifying septic system. One thing to keep in mind, now this is the existing zoning with the overlay, with the nitrogen-sensitive areas overlaid on top. As you can see, the vast majority of the red is essentially within the NSAs. So the areas that we talked about up in North Falmouth, on 151, et cetera, along 28 for the most part. The one areas, actually there's 2, there's downtown, so this Highfield Hall area and part of Depot Avenue, and potentially some of those areas that I was talking about earlier, and then the areas down in Woods Hole. Those are not areas where if someone, let's just pretend, Mr. Cod gets expanded to all those areas would not be subject to having to put in a denitrification system if they increase the flow. Okay, so.
Those are on the sewer?
Nope, because they're not within the nitrogen-sensitive areas, which
Okay.
shown on the map are these hatched lines, okay? So there's an area, Oyster Pond's an area, so the little teardrops
All of
essentially.
Homeport. There's some big areas that are not in it.
The vast majority of town, if I zoom out here, the vast majority of town
That's owned.
is covered by a nitrogen-sensitive area. But this pocket right in here, okay, as you follow my cursor, and this area, and a lot of Woods Hole are not in nitrogen-sensitive areas and therefore would not be required to do a denitrification system with increased
Well,
flow.
there's a reason why they're not in that area.
There is. There
They
is.
don't affect the estuaries.
Right.
Right. I'm just saying, part of the selling point, if you will, of expanding the Mr. Cod district is, yes, there was concern back in 2021 about wastewater generation and the impact on coastal ponds. Now, fast forward to 2026, you have this new rule that says anytime you're increasing that flow, you've got to mitigate it with these denitrification systems. So therefore, it may be, air quotes, safe to bring an expansion of the Mr. Cod district forward because you're mitigating that wastewater concern,
Okay.
but not everywhere. So I just want to be transparent and not sneaky, Charlotte.
Talking about denitrification, not everywhere.
Correct.
But the Mr. Cod would be in the same place that we proposed it before.
Yes. I think I understand what you're
Just
saying.
business districts, business 1, 2, 3.
B1, B2, and BR. Not B3.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It doesn't seem different in any way, except one particular way. You can't have any, what is it, high-energy things? There's only one way that B3 is different from the other business things. When you look at our charts,
We're not talking about B3.
Yeah. B3 is an animal that we'll take on
Almost
another time.
nowhere.
It's
Not part of this conversation.
all right, so here's our first area. Again, we're going to go from, if you're picturing the town, we're going to go from Woods Hole up and around and do sort of a big circle, all right? So here's your first area. This is down in Woods Hole on Water Street and part of School Street, I think. Second area, I'm just going to whip through these pretty quickly so that we can get through them. This is the Dome area. This is the Lighthouse Station project for Longfellow. That's a BR district. Area number 3 is just off of Palmer Ave, and it's the section of Depot Ave. Highfield Hall is area number 4. Area 5, this is getting up into the North Falmouth area.
28A?
Yes, 28A. Side street here is Minot. Actually, that's just off of Palmer, so not too far up. Area number 6. This is the Palmer Ave and Terhune Jones Road intersection. So this is Cape Cod Bagel and the gas station, et cetera. Area 7, now we're into the North Falmouth area.
Where is it?
This is Winslow Road. So this is, I believe this is the cheese shop.
That's a good example. Everyone knows where that is now.
Yep.
How big of an area is that, Jed?
This whole zoning district? I don't know offhand.
You can measure it real quick. Isn't that GIS?
Well, it wouldn't be to scale, but
Okay.
yeah. Not on this map anyway.
Okay, I see. You've already mapped
It would
this out.
take some time.
Yeah,
Okay.
Silver Lounge,
It would
Taylor
be,
Rental.
Yep.
it goes by parcel anyway.
Sort of. These, so these zoning districts not always go by parcel lines. Some of them they create split zone lots, which I won't get into my feelings on that.
It's like 4 acres.
Okay.
I just was looking at the GIS.
So this is Nathan Ellis County and 28A. So this is, I forget the name of the restaurant on this corner, but this is Bucatino's. Yep. This side, I just can't remember. It's there's a pizza place, I think.
Which one's Mr. Cod, the red?
It would be this one here.
Oh, that one, okay.
Yeah, that's B3.
Okay.
Area number 9. So this is out on 151. This is the ball field. I believe that's Hamilton Tree.
Yeah.
This is the corner of Sandwich and 151, where the Dunkin' Donuts and the gas station is. So now we've made our way down to Wacoit. This is Wacoit Highway, and I think that's Metoxet. So this is that village area.
Moonikis Cafe.
Yep. Further to the west, this is Antler Shore Drive is here. I think this is Bad Martha's. Mahoney's, yes, Mahoney's. Yep.
Eagle Fence.
This is Kenyon's on Central Ave. This is a big area. This is area number 14, so this is Davisville. So the CVS is here, and then it goes all the way out to, I think that's the East Falmouth Library right there. So it goes quite a distance. Area 15. This is Acapasket. Chinese restaurant, I believe, is right on the corner. Area 16. So this is, okay, so this is, I think, right down the Falmouth Lumber.
Yeah.
Yep, Falmouth Lumber on this side, I think. Again, all along 28. All right, so now we get into sort of some interesting areas, right? So this is the Dunkin' Donuts property and the adjacent residential zone. These two areas, again, we're at the very tip of the MRCOD area, but we're excluded because they did not have a sewer service connection, okay? So it's another one of those examples. So I highlighted those, and you'll see in the future maps, anything that is highlighted like this, it's in a B2 district, but it's not within MRCOD.
That's the Sandwich Road area.
Correct. Here's another example. So this is the Safe Light right here at Gifford and Main Street. And these properties behind that area are adjacent to the MRCOD and within the MRCOD area, but didn't have sewer service connections. So they would be eligible for this expansion as well. Another example of split zone lots. These two lots right on Main Street didn't have sewer service connections, and therefore they'd be eligible for the expansion. Almost to the end. Additional lots that didn't have sewer. So this is, I believe it's Shore Street. Yep. So this is the furniture place, and then there's some lots here that would be eligible, as well as this lot, because again, remember the MRCOD district and the way the bylaw currently says is anytime you have any part of the lot that's zoned B1, B2, or BR, the entire lot is eligible for not only calculating your density, but also utilizing the density. Important distinction. And Area 21, which is just west, just at the far end of the MRCOD district, which is, I can't remember exactly. This is the
Office?
West Main, so it's right at the V. I think the post office is further to the east. But anyway, it's another example of one of those lots that would now be eligible. So those are all the areas.
So what this means is they're business-owned lots, but instead of getting a special permit for 8 units per acre, they could do 20 units per acre.
6 units per acre.
6 or 8, I think, with a special, 6 by right, 8 by special permit. They could do a by right 20 units if what the percentage is affordable, is it 20% affordable or 10?
25.
20, if 25% is affordable. So we're really doubling, more than doubling the density in those. I was just trying to make the point of what we're doing to them.
So I'm just going to zoom back to the overall map.
And they're all in our village centers.
No, that's the thing. So it's throughout town, so you can see.
But some of the village, like little village centers, like Wacoit, North Falmouth, they're in, if they were B2, they were in business centers.
Generally speaking, yes, those are where they exist. I mean, so you've got a couple of examples that they're just, in my opinion, they're weird outliers. So for example, the B2 district on Nathan Ellis Highway, there's no village center there. It's just, for some reason, that area is zone B2. My guess is because of a pre-existing commercial entity up in that area.
That was the movie theater.
Okay. So, you've got these sort of outliers, but, in the intersections, those would make sense. Those would traditionally be your center areas. So, a lot to unpack there. I'm going to stop talking and allow you to.
Area 9 is just particularly weird, especially because all of it except for the one Hamilton tree thing is conservation.
Right.
It's zoned as.
Right. And I don't know that that's an area where you'd want to encourage
You wouldn't really
20
want a
units per
giant
acre.
apartment building, I
Yeah.
guess.
And I think that area was removed when you first went to town meeting in '21, although I can't remember specifically. There were a couple.
I think it was too.
Yeah, like Highfield Hall, I think there was an agreement that was going to be removed.
Right.
So,
Although I would think people that want to get on a highway real quick and commute 151, I mean, I know people that bought property on highways because of that. They right off an exit ramp,
true.
But we always talked about the village centers and staying away from the outer limits.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to be cleaned up and get some apartments there.
Yeah. So well, let me just, all right, let me explain. So the easiest way, in my opinion, to make this zoning amendment, at least for staff, to write the zoning amendment is to essentially remove the reference to the MRCOD map and just say anywhere there's a B1, B2, or BR district, you now have a MRCOD overlay, right? Clean and simple. But I could see that probably won't work in this scenario because Area 9 is an example of where you wouldn't want that to happen. Yeah. So you're going to have to likely, if you want to expand MRCOD, you're going to have to do it as a map amendment. So
Right.
it really is just a different way of articulating that zoning article. So just to be clear.
And this is B1, B2, not B3.
Correct.
Can you point out 9 again?
Yeah. Do you want to go to the map or
No,
this one?
Could you just expand that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What's the cross street? Is there,
This one here?
is it,
This is Sandwich Road.
no, I see Area 9, it's the bigger, I see Area 10 is an intersection of 2 major roads.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is, Area 9 looks like it's just a strip along Nathan Ellis Highway.
It is.
Ranch Road is across the street.
Ranch
It's in the
Road.
middle of the.
There's a baseball field out there, is that what you're,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
It's where the Nickelodeon used to be.
Nickelodeon was there, so there was kind of a,
It's now a tree arborist place,
but
Hamilton.
out in that area, it was the only business area that was there, the Nickelodeon, that's all there was.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, it was out in the boonies.
I wasn't here.
That was the boonies back then.
I wouldn't, I think we should do all of them, but if somebody wanted to exclude that,
I think
I
we
wouldn't
should
argue the
too.
point either.
I think we should.
Can we remember why we didn't include B3?
I thought it's because you didn't want it. No, you weren't on the board. I was kidding, Shelley, because you live in the beast. Sorry. That was unfair of
You
me.
just want to blame me for whatever.
No.
Okay.
Forgive me.
I think
Unfair.
we should not exclude any of them.
But you're saying we're not doing B3, though.
Right. But I don't
Not
want
exclude any of these.
Of these areas.
And Charlotte's question is,
Agree, John.
I think that's the next one we do, Charlotte,
Oh, then why not now?
because I thought you'd fight it. Don't you live in a B3 zone?
No.
North Falmouth?
So the question is, I mean, it sounds like you're in agreement. You would want to include the Highfield Hall area,
Yeah.
knowing full well that likely something in the future is not going to happen, but at least you're including that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a huge sports center up there, and they could get rebuilt.
Why
You
does
got
Highfield Hall
there's a
need
lot of
that?
commercial property up there.
Is that in it?
The rink, I mean,
Is it in it? Let's
Is the
see.
sports center
It's
in that
included
area?
anyway.
I know Highfield is,
Well,
but
unless we
is the sports center in it as well?
I think it is, because that's the sports center here, right?
yeah.
Okay, good. All
Do
right.
you want to make a motion, Jim?
I can't
No, I wanna
decipher
keep
from
that.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I move this, that we take all of them.
You make a motion?
I move that we expand Mr. Cod to all the B2 and BR and B1 areas.
Second.
Any discussion?
I didn't hear what the rationale for doing this is, or why we're doing it now.
We need-
Because I'll speak on it, because I actually ran on this. I stated that, and because I think it was a mistake to put this on the first time, and Joe Netto got up, and because he's a really powerful town meeting member, he got us to change the whole thing. But I've talked to Joe, and he may not consider to be it so strongly anymore. I believe that it's business-owned property, mostly in our citizen towns and our little villages, and now that they can be mitigated with better sewer systems, his objection should go away, and that's why we just take his objection and vote it like it wasn't there, and that's basically what we're doing.
I think it gives us a chance to rebuild these areas into, nicer structures. There's a lot of really tired buildings in these areas, and create some affordable housing, some rentals.
There's some areas in East Falmouth that are dying to be made really nice apartment
Well,
buildings.
North Falmouth has the same
North, they're just
situation.
dying, and it's because I believe if we could have a discussion that Joe Netto would say he made a mistake with this amendment.
Get it on tape.
I've talked to him about it.
Well, we've said his name enough.
No, but okay, I shouldn't make it
Yeah.
explicit.
I
but
do want to be clear before we move on from that topic, because I think it's really important. We do plan to meet with the wastewater superintendent and the water superintendent tomorrow to make sure
Yeah.
that, we've got capacity, that
If
this
the
isn't going to...
mitigation doesn't work, we can't
Right,
do it.
Right. So we will bring that back to you.
Okay, good.
But that's our meeting with them tomorrow.
I was assuming the mitigation worked, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mitigating the wastewater flow, yes, but, I mean, obviously, having drinking water is a major contributing factor to whether or not this can be supported, right? And so we just want to make sure that we're not, head down,
Absolutely.
full speed ahead without...
It's not like it's going to happen overnight either. This is a long-term,
Yeah.
what I was talking about earlier, it could be a 20-year process for some of these properties to get redone,
Sure.
or more.
I'll just say, I do think that Area 9 would be a bizarre spot, because that lot, you could have up to like 60 units or whatever, and there's like the airfield, and then like, it's also like a hunting area, people go hunting there. I don't know if like an apartment building there would actually.
But you can have apartments there now. You can
Yeah,
have 6 or 8,
They have
Technically.
apartments.
But 6 or 8 versus like 30 is like,
20, we're going per acre. I'm saying
well, it's
that,
3 acres, so it could be 60.
yeah, the zoning right now is 6 by right, 8 by special permit. So they already can have it 8 on an acre lot. So it's already there. We're just increasing the density to a use that's already there. We're not creating a new use in a crazy area. It's already been there for how many years?
And it puts the education if they do expand.
Yeah.
Eric's point is there's a
I mean,
difference
like if people
between
are hunting
24
there,
and
you don't really
60.
want to have like a big apartment building.
Right.
Like,
But you can already,
like a risk to the people there. I honestly think the
I
zoning.
think you can already can, is my point. How many acres did you say it is?
It's 2.95.
So that's
Yeah, but it's surrounded-
24-unit apartment building.
It's surrounded by about 40.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like maybe that's not the best zoning, like the zoning that is there right now. Doesn't
It's
make a lot of
surrounded by
sense.
about 40 acres of open space.
Yeah.
And if you take in
Yeah,
notice,
I think, Eric, maybe your point is that the underlying zoning probably should be
change,
changed.
is what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. Like it's fine that it's a
Well,
contractor.
try that, that's really hard to do.
I know, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, but I hear your point.
Behind the water treatment plant now.
all right, so we got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
I think your point is correct. As we start looking at these areas individually, I think we need to start getting this together. But there may be some that just don't fly for safety reasons or whatever, and then we'd have to say that we exclude these particular.
And when I would say to that, if you really want to stop affordable housing, you can find an excuse to do just about anything for a reason not to do it.
Well, I could, but I wouldn't want to get shot by a hunter.
Well, no, I mean, I'm serious. You drive along 28, you can hunt just across the street from the high school.
Right, and you can be driving
Oh,
on,
God, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
and you can be driving down 151
Sorry.
and get shot by the same people.
John,
Well,
I'm
that's
not
great
going to
to know.
support this. And the reason I'm not is there's a big difference between allowing 24 new septic deals up there and 60, and that's the difference in what we're talking about. If we exclude that funny little thing that is now Hamilton Tree, it's a more acceptable kind of thing to do. We have spent years as a planning board protecting the aquifer. And now we're saying, hey, don't do that anymore.
Hey, we're going to have nitrates less than 10 parts per million.
You're the one who explained to us that those D-nights don't actually work. Are you prepared to eat those words?
These are new systems. This is new and improved system.
They
Has
don't
been-
work.
They don't
That
work.
work.
Fresh water.
I made this proposal based on the mitigations changing with the technology. I agree with you, if the technology isn't there, we shouldn't do it. But I would like to hear from our Board of Health.
Well, then let's not act on this until we hear.
No, we've already heard from them. They've already been approved by the Board of Health.
Again, don't forget, you're just bringing this to a
Yeah.
public hearing.
Yeah,
So
that's, I think we should have a hearing on it. You can vote against it at the hearing.
So I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Almost unanimous. One opposed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
that's it.
Next, we have committee reports, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Recreation Committee.
We have a meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, I like that report.
Yeah.
CPC report.
Nothing from the last time.
Millions of dollars for affordable housing.
Right.
I like that report, too.
Cost bonding.
Okay, future agenda items. Anybody?
One more thing. There's one more report, committee report that Paul put it's in your packets, for the Water Quality Management Committee report. So you can take a look at that, and if anybody in the public is curious, it will be attached to the minutes once they're published.
There's a water quality committee.
Management
it's in
Committee.
here.
Paul used to always.
It goes to Paul still with
comment
us.
on it, and
Yeah.
he's keeping you updated.
We asked that he
It's in
do
the
that.
packet.
Oh, I didn't see it. So it needs to be read?
No,
Okay.
it's too many
Because
pages.
if it's going to be read, he needs to come here and read it.
No.
I have a subject I'd like to bring up, and it's just.
As a future agenda
Yeah,
item?
future agenda item,
Okay.
yes. And I could show two examples of it that I think would space time. I think that we should have, any time we're doing a site plan review, I think that now with the technology, with aerial and drones, that it should have an aerial survey showing the picture from all the property lines into the site. It's very easy to do, and it's not very expensive. We require all kinds of engineering, but I think it would make it really clear to the people at home and everybody, they could see it. And I'll be glad to show some examples that I did for the last, we were going to have a site visit out on Gifford Street, I went out and flew it in preparation to do it for the meeting, and now we're not having it. It's really concise. It's not a lot of work, and it's a few hundred. I'm not changing that. I'm gonna do it, but I would show you what it looks like. And I think if you saw how clearly you can see everything on the site from 100 feet around and flying the border, as opposed to all of us going there and everybody in town meeting wondering, or town, with the technology we have, it's just an advancement that we should take into consideration. So I just want to have a discussion. I'll make a little presentation, and then you can vote it up or down at that time.
Jake, could you find out if there's any money in the budget to hire an aerial photographer?
No, we can make the applicant pay for it, just like we do everything else. Make it a requirement. They pay the engineer, we don't do the engineering.
Correct, we do.
We'll put it as a future agenda item then.
I think
Any other
Eric-
future agenda items, Eric?
I don't know if it's premature, but I feel like it would be good to talk about trying to expand general residence, because I feel like that kind of meets some of what we're talking about. It allows up to 3 units, one of which is affordable. Maybe it should be 4 units. Maybe it should be a larger area of town. I think there's a lot of areas that are like walking distance from these, MRCOD districts that would be very
Expand what?
suitable for some sort of moderate multifamily housing. And I feel like that's like, we were talking about it as like an old thing, but I think it's still relevant, should be brought up.
Got that, Melinda?
Got it.
Jed, all right, thank you. Anything else for future agenda item? All right, then the next meeting scheduled is July 28th and August 11th.
Okay, move to
Move
adjourn.
adjournment.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.